Hey friends, this is our Snizzy and today's special we are gonna see. What if Goku x Azula were fire twins? Sorry for disturbance, you skipped 20 seconds from here. This note for author of the fanfiction. I have given credits to author in description of the video by if the original author wishes to reclaim copyright or remove this video, I kindly request before giving copyright strike. Please contact us using the information provided in the pinned comment. We respect and acknowledge authorship rights. And I will delete that specific video by myself. Thank you. Fiction start from here. In the Fire Nation, Prince Azula was walking inside a military navy ship. He was trying to come up with a new strategy that can complete the invasion of the Earth Kingdom. He knew that if he can make that achievement, his father will choose him as the next heir to the throne. He already had a son to secure the succession. He truly believes that under his control the Fire Nation will be able to obtain world domination. He had his son not because he loved his wife, but for a way to have control over the nation. If his son is a good firebender or at least an obedient one, he can train him so he can take care of the things he may not want to take care of. For that reason, he decided to have a second one. He wanted to have 2 sons, that way he can have a backup plan in case his first son is a failure. The birth of his second should have been a few weeks ago, but of course, he cannot stay in the mansion with his wife, as it will be just a waste of time. Because the ship was way into the sea, he did not have contact with the Fire Nation and did not know if his kid was already born or if he survived. A miscarriage, with 1 or 2 children, is normal, but for him, if the baby did not survive, it means that the baby was weak and should be burned as garbage. Then Azula gets outside the ship as he wants to see the military display that will happen while they attack a small village near the sea. He wants to know the way that his army will take over the place. At Azula's side was the captain of the ship, who was too proud to be at his right. Maybe that will be the only time he will have to show up to the Prince Azula, and this may be his opportunity to gain more recognition and better pay. The attack was as they imagined. The villagers tried to oppose them, but it was in vain. The Fire Nation was too powerful for them, and to be honest, only half of the crew of one ship could have been enough for them to take over the village. All the soldiers were a little tired of being in the ship, so when Prince Azula ordered them to go and raid the village, many of them were happy to know that they can set foot on land. While all the soldiers were in the village, Prince Azula and the captain were watching everything from their ship. Then the captain started to walk backward as he was watching the sky. Azula looked in the same direction and saw something in the sky. It was like a comet, but the only comet they know is the Sazan comet and it's still too early for it to pass. Then they realized that it fell to the ground and make a big sound. Prince Azula ordered some of the men to come with him to investigate the place. He thought that this may be the key to gain more power. There was a crater, and in the middle of it, there was a large white sphere. One of the soldiers went down and checked the strange sphere. Then the soldier screamed. There is a baby inside. Then another soldier went down and helped to open the strange sphere. Azula was more interested in the strange pod than the baby. But as soon the baby was out of the pod it started to cry, then with one headbutt, he knocks down the soldier. All the other soldiers were laughing at it, but when the second soldier tried to grab the baby, he was punched with a monkey tail like and was sent fly and also knocked down. That is when Azula gets interested in the baby. He went down and tried to grab the baby, but the baby jumped at him. Azula dodged it and grabbed it from the tail. Then the baby stopped crying. Azula cut the tail with fire bending and the baby fell headfirst to the ground. Everybody thought that the baby should have died because of that, but then the baby started to cry again. Azula ordered the man to take the baby and the strange sphere back to the capital. At that moment Azula thought that he just obtained a third backup. Back in the capital, Azula realized that his second spring was a girl, which did not please him too much. But then he thought that as long as she is strong, she can be of use. When Azula's wife was taking care of their baby, he entered the room, and with him, a soldier who had the baby they found out inside the strange pod. Ursa, from now on this baby will be under our protection, and you will take care of him as yours. Is him your son from a mistress? Does it matter? I just told you the order to take care of him as yours. If he is an offspring of mine or not is not relevant. As far as the people of the Fire Nation know, you gave birth to twins. As you wish. The face of Ursa, Azula's wife, was of anger, but when they showed her the other baby, she felt some sadness and pity through the kid. She thought, this little baby was separated from his real mother and his father seems to be a heartless man, so she accepted the baby. What is the name of the baby? I was thinking of giving him your grandfather's name. Roku. And for our kid, she will be named after my father. Azula, but end up being a girl so we can call her Azula. You want to name this baby after my grandfather? Any problem? No. Ursa could not see the face of Azula, she was angered and hurt for that. Fine, we can call him Goku. Is that alright? Thank you. Ursa concentrates herself to see this new baby. He looked very peculiar, his eyes were peach black, and his hair was a mess, and it seems that there was a contusion in his head. 10 years have passed, and even when the twins are very different, they are very close. Azula excels in almost any aspect. Grace, intelligence, firebending, and she also was a little cunning as she does whatever to have what she wants. In exchange, her twin brother Goku was not that clever, he was way too innocent and fell for the pranks of his sister over and over again, but he never gets mad at her, and the worst is that he could not firebend, but when he lacks in all those aspects, he excels in combat. He has fought with elite soldiers, benders, and non-benders, and he has always won. His sister was the only one that could beat him, as she knows him very well, but she has to get better every time, as Goku seems to catch up with her at any moment. For that reason, the people in the Fire Nation thought that it was a shame that they were born as twins, because if they were just one, that individual will be perfect. At home, Azula and Goku always get the prices of their father. Azula really works hard to gain those praises, but to Goku, that was not that important, and for that reason his older brother, Zuko, was jealous of both of them, especially of Goku, who seems that he cannot take anything seriously. Their mother Ursa is always at Zuko's side as he was the introverted type, and Goku and Azula seem to attract the attention of everyone. Ursa often disciplines Azula for her behavior, although she was kind of abusive through everyone, either Zuko or Goku is the first to take the pranks of Azula too personally, and her mother usually has to intervene, but if it is about Goku, she did not do it too often. On one occasion Azula eavesdropped a conversation where Ursa was talking with Zuko and Goku. "Listen, if you do not stand your ground, your sister will continue to pick on you, you know that she is." At that moment Azula was furious for that, her mother was conspiring against her. Then she heard. I do not mind Azula doing those things. It was her twin brother, he was with his typical nonchalant attitude. On a typical day in the mansion garden, Ursa was close to a pond and she was feeding some turtle ducks, Zuko was next to his mother and Goku was just lying in the grass. Zuko talked to his mother about how Azula fed the turtle ducks, then he threw a big stone at them, the turtle ducks survived, and the animal mother attacked Zuko, which made Goku laugh at him. It was quite comical the way Zuko tried to remove the turtle duck. Azula was passing by and stopped when she heard Goku laughing at Zuko. Ursa tells Zuko that mothers will always protect their kids, then she started to talk with Goku. The suffering of your brother was funny to you, or was the one from the little animals? The way Zuko tried to take away the turtle duck was very funny, hahaha. Young boy. You know that suffering is not an acceptable laughing matter. Even the animals feel pain. But what? You are too fascinated with fights, and that is a big concern. Are you uncivilized and will go to kill animals and people? Well. The only reason to kill animals is to eat them. Goku answered in a very innocent but direct way. For him, killing a person was bad, it has to be done as a last resource, because it will demonstrate that you cannot control yourself. But killing an animal was only for you to eat and nothing more. And if the killing was so bad, why are we in a war? Ursa could not answer Goku. She did not know if he was genuinely innocent enough to give that kind of answer, or if he was just like his sister. Azula then got out of her hiding and called Goku as she wanted to play with him. She was somehow happy at that moment. Although Zuko and Goku went to the Royal Fire Academy for boys, Zuko could not make friends as he was trying to get the best grades to make his parents proud, and Goku, he did not even try to take notes or listen to his teachers, he would skip classes and have fights against older students who try to bully him without knowing who he is. Goku always won easily, and for him. That time was very boring. For Goku, the only time he had fun was when he is fighting against a strong opponent or when is with his sister, as he has realized that she was a great firebender fighter. On one of the weekends, Azula invited two of her friends from the Royal Fire Academy for girls. Ty Lee and Mai were very different from one another. Azula recognized them as friends as both excel in combat and were daughters of outstanding families. Azula notices that Mai has a crush on Zuko and tried to make a prank on them. When Ursa was walking alongside Zuko, Azula approached them and asked Zuko to play with them as they need to play in pairs. Why don't you ask Goku? Because he is training with some elite soldiers. Come on, please. I do think that it is good for you to play with your sister. So, after Ursa told him to play with them, Azula could put the prank on Mai and Zuko, so both fell to the little water fountain. Then they heard Goku laugh. Goku arrived from his training, but he did not go to wash as he rushed to see his sister as fast as he could, so he was sweating. At that exact moment, Azula also realized that Ty Lee had a crush on Goku, but for some reason, she did not respond the same way she did with Mai. She could not understand herself, but for her twin brother was only hers. Goku extended his hand to Mai and Zuko to help them get up, but none of them accepted. After a while, Ursa called for the three siblings. It seems that their uncle Iroh has sent them some gifts for the kids. Zuko was the most excited, while Azula and Goku just followed the instructions of their mother. Zuko received a knife with an inscription that reads, "Never give up without a fight," so he was very happy. It seems that this was the knife of some Earth Kingdom general. Azula, on the other hand, received a doll which supposed to be the most popular in the Earth Kingdom, Azula hated, and Goku received some formal clothes from the Earth Kingdom. It was a green shirt with yellow sleeves and black pants. It also included a black hat with a little red dot in the top, like Chaz clothes or Gohan clothes, from the first chapter of DBZ. Azula and Zuko laugh at Goku, while Ursa told him that he looked adorable. Goku just hated it, as he does not want to dress so formally. So, he started to take off the clothes right there. In one of his typical one-on-one with Azula, Goku was having like always the advantage, but then Azula started to firebend, and Goku only could defend himself until he fell to the ground, but Azula did not stop, as she knew that Goku could stand up to continue the fight. She continued until Goku was just lying on the floor. Ursa saw that happening and tried to run to protect Goku. Ursa heard that Azula and Goku trained together from time to time, but never thought that Azula was that strong, and she was not trying to contain herself. But when Ursa was half the way, Goku got up by himself with a big smile. That was awesome. It is the same result, no matter how many times you try. But I do not know why I am not able to use fire. Well, only a few are blessed with this power. And you know what it means. Azula said that with a smirk on her, as a way to show off that she will always be superior. Yes, that means that I have to train even more. I need to do it if I want to defeat you at least one time. Can you give me any advice? I don't know. Please. Well, fire is born inside of us, and we use our body to get it out, like with our hands or feet. Some can even do it with their mouth. Wow. Thank you, sis. So is something from inside of me. Ursa was in shock. Goku looked without anger at how his sister beat him, and he was happy asking her ways to be even stronger. She knew that even when he is just 10 years old, he is already training with the best soldiers of the army. Ursa knows that the army roots for twins, putting Azula as the Fire Lord and Goku as the leader of the army. One day, Azula and Zuko were inside a room playing. Zuko was swinging the knife he received from his uncle, while Azula was watching him and mocking him as he was very lacking in his moves, which was expected as he was playing. Azula reminded Zuko that their uncle was coming back and was bad talking about her uncle Iroh, calling him a quitter as he retreads from battle after his son died, but when Zuko was going to try to defend his uncle, Goku arrived running inside the room. Eyes, you never believe this. Is. Just. Amazing. Azula smirked and rolled her eyes. She just thought that his twin brother just learned a new technique and now he wants to show off. Then their mother appears and asks them to follow her as they will have an audience with the Fire Lord Azulon. Then Azula said, "Fire Lord Azulon. Can't we just call him grandfather?" Then Goku laughed a little and followed Zuko. In the audience, the whole family was sitting in front of the Fire Lord Azulon, who had a big bar of fire in front of him. I wanted to show his children's progress, so he was asking them a few questions, but almost all of them were answered by Azula. Then I asked Azula to demonstrate the new moves she trains with him, so the Fire Lord can't see them. Azula stands up and performs a sequence that demonstrated agility and strength in them, which were very impressive, and more thinking that the moveset was performed by a kid and not by a high-rank soldier. It seems that all the time that Azula spent training with her twin brother pay off, as she always tried to overpass her limits because he always was too close to beat her. She's a true prodigy. Just like her grandfather for whom she's named. I said those words with pride to the Fire Lord. And while Azula was sitting she said to her two brothers and said, "None of you will catch up." Zuko was going to stand up, but before that Goku said, "We will see," with a big smile, then he raised his hand and said, "I have also something to demonstrate." I was worried, and the Fire Lord was intrigued as the kid was known as a failure like a firebender. The only good thing about him was that he was a great warrior. Goku stood up, then he faced one of the sides of the hall. While he was standing, he raised his hand to the front with his eyes closed for a moment and in silence for a couple of seconds, then he opened his eyes and shouts "Hey!" and from his hand, a blue beam came up and passed the whole hall, and when it touched the wall, it broke it and passed through it. That was a powerful technique, a fire control that nobody has ever seen. The kid that was supposed to be an unbender has now overpassed his two siblings at that very moment. All in the hall was watching Goku in disbelief at what just happened. Goku was smiling, scratching his head and saying, "I am sorry, it seems that I still need to control it." That is raw power. Judging from your expressions, I believe that Prince Ozai did not know about it. So that means that you have something to say to me. Everyone leaves and let me talk with Prince Ozai. The Fire Lord said that with a smile on his face, so all left the hall leaving behind Ozai and Azulon alone. Goku heard that his sister calls for him, but then his stomach started to growl. Ursa then told him. "It seems that you are already hungry again. You may go to the kitchen and ask for something to eat. Goku smiled at her and run as fast as he could to the kitchen. At night Goku was going to bed, but then Azula entered. Goku was a little confused about it. I was thinking that we could sleep together tonight. Why, are you afraid of ghosts? What? No. I am doing this to save you. To save me? From what? Look, do not question me. All you have to know is that if you stay with me tonight you will be safe. So, no more questions. Azula came with Goku as she could hear that Azai asked for the crown because of Iroh's defeat at Ba Sing Se and because he no longer has an heir, and Azulon because of that suggestion decided to punish him and asked him to choose one of his sons and kill him as well. He needed to choose between Zuko and Goku because Azulon still tough that Goku was Azai's son with a hidden mistress. Azula thought that if his father needed to kill one of his sons, she can at least stay with Goku, that way she could try to persuade her father or help Goku to escape. The good thing is that Goku showed his value in the last moment in front of his grandfather, so now he is sitting way in front of Zuko, as the only thing that could make them choose Goku over Zuko was his lack of firebending, but that day he was able to show off a very powerful firebending, but she still cannot be that sure, that is why she decided to sleep with him. In the other room, Azai was thinking. When Prince Azai was told that he needed to kill one of his sons, he first thought that Goku should be the one to sacrifice. That was one of the reasons to bring him from the beginning, and he didn't want to kill his blood at first. But at the same time, he could not forget that raw power he demonstrated with his newly discovered firebending. In his mind was, well, my blood is still running in Azula, and unlike Zuko, I am sure that she is for sure my daughter. When he was walking, he was stopped by his wife. After that night Ursa disappeared from the palace without a trace. 2 years have passed since Ursa disappeared. Prince Azai was crowned Fire Lord after the death of Lord Azulon, as he was able to choose Azai as his successor instead of Iroh before he died. The disappearance of their mother affected Akko more than anyone else. Goku remembered her from time to time and did not suffer too much as his sister was still with him. Goku tried to cheer Zuko up by asking him to train with him, as for Goku that is the best moment of the day, but Zuko always said no. Azula, on the other hand, didn't seem to be affected by her missing mother. Azula made a little prank to her twin brother a few months ago, but it seems that it did not have the effect she wanted, or maybe Goku did not fall for it. One day Azula went to see Goku's training with the elite soldiers. She saw how he overpowered them with strength and speed. He didn't need to use his special firebending technique. After that Goku went directly where Azula was. Hey Azula, wanna have a little spar with me? No. What? Why? Why not? Because you did not do what I told you to. Did what? I told you 3 months ago that you needed to use weights at any moment to train your strength. But I do wear them. Do not lie to me, I don't see you wearing any weights. Let me show you. Then Goku took off his shirt with some difficulties and it fell to the ground making a sound as if it was too heavy. Then he proceeds to remove his wristbands, which also made the same sound and even make some cracks in the floor, then finally his shoes. Goku started to stretch a little and said, wow, long time not feeling this light. Azula gets closer and tried to take his shirt with some problems, as she did not expect them to be that heavy. Since when you were using this? After you told me I went with the seamstress and asked her for it. After that, it took her like 2 days to give it to me. How heavy are these things? Around 44 pounds each, 20 kilos. So, you were training with the elite soldiers with all this weight? Yeah, just like you told me. The conversation was heard by the soldiers that were training with Goku. Azula realized that some of the soldiers did not believe it, so she asks them to take Goku's clothes and send them to wash, but when the soldiers try to lift them, they were surprised to know that all that conversation was true. So, the 2 shoes, the 2 wristbands, and then the shirt, means that he had a total of 220 pounds 100 kilos on him, and he was moving that way with no problem. Said one of the soldiers. Then a soldier came running and told Azula and Goku that they are requested as there will be an Anaikai where his brother will be fighting. Goku was surprised by the news that his brother will participate in one, so he ran and take his clothes back and wear them again. Azula was also surprised, but she was thinking about who the opponent might be. When they arrived at the small arena where only generals were, they decided to stay close to his uncle Iroh. They saw that his brother was getting prepared for the fight and Goku just screamed. You can do it, Zuko. While Azula was rolling her eyes at the cheering of her twin brother. It was announced that his opponent was his father, Fire Lord Azai. Goku was confused as he did not know for whom to cheer, so he just said, let's have a good fight. Instead of keeping his guard up, Zuko knelt and asked for forgiveness. His plea was answered with an attack of fire. Goku got angry but was stopped by his sister as she told him that this is an Anaikai and he should respect his father and brother, so he stood still, but Goku was visibly angry as he did not like seeing how his father attacked his brother who was asking for mercy. Azula too can calm Goku told him that. in an Ikai you need to complete the fight and the only way to do it by our father was by attacking Zuzu. That is why he only received the scar in his face because if father fought seriously, Zuko may have died. With that explanation, Goku thought that it was a way of mercy and respect showed by his father to Zuko. After that day, Zuko was banished, they also removed his birthright as heir to the throne. He was told that the only way to return and regain his birthright was to capture the Avatar. The banishment of Zuko was something that hurt Goku even more than the disappearance of his mother. Azula for some reason could not support seeing his twin brother sad, so she talked with him and said that, well, what father is doing is to send him on a journey so he can become stronger because, let's be honest, he is too weak compared to any of us. So, he will return. Only if he gets stronger. But how will he get stronger? Well, he needs experience and fights with strong people from the outside. Does that means that there are stronger fighters out there? Why are asking that? Why are you like that all of a sudden? Goku, the moment that he hears that there are strong people out there, his eyes changed. Maybe I can ask father to let me join Zuko so I can also fight those strong people. No, you can't. Why are you so angry? Azula got angry at the idea of Goku going outside without her or joining Zuko as she knew that the mission that his father asked was a fool's errand and probably they won't be able to find the Avatar in their lifetime. She calmed herself and then answered Goku. This is something that Zuko has to do by himself. If not, he won't be able to come back. Oh, okay. Goku sounded disappointed, but he was no longer sad as he now has hope that his older brother may return someday. Since Zuko left the Fire Nation, the day by day for the twins did not change that much, their interaction was almost null, and even when Goku did want to spar with Zuko, his father did not let him. On the other hand, Goku and Azula were getting stronger as they trained together. Azula can still defeat Goku, but after knowing that her twin was able to train like nothing with 220 pounds. 100 kilos over him, she also started to use heavy armor while training. The training was always a spectacular thing to see as both of them looked like they are experienced warriors. Azula always took the training seriously, she knew that Goku is the only one that can receive her full power, and to be honest, that made her a little happier as her regular training is somehow boring. She was able to use lighting control almost at the same time she turns 13 years. Goku was amazed by that technique, he only knew how to shoot a powerful fire bend in a straight line, which seems that no one else can use, and it appears that it does not leave any burning marks. One of the generals advised Lord Ozai to send Goku to train under Lo and Lee, just like Azula. Fire Lord Ozai did think about it, he wanted that Goku could be deployed in the front lines as soon as possible, so he will show that the royal family is with the common rabble. Although Goku prefers that his sister continue to train him with the tips she gives him, but he accepted when he was told that Azula also needed to train to become stronger herself. Unlike the training of Azula, Goku's training was calmer, which was the thing he was lacking. Goku's great excitement for fights made him more predictable, a reason why Azula even when she was weaker than him, could defeat him. This will also help him to control his firebending technique. Now, Prince Goku, tell us. How did you archive this power? What did you think when you make it happen for the first time? Tell us. Lo and Lee were questioning Goku as he is sighted in a lotus position with his eyes closed. I try to follow Azula's advice. What advice? She said that fire came from inside our body, so I try to concentrate everything to expel the fire from my body. The two old women looked at each other and then they started to talk to Goku again. Now, you will need to concentrate on that energy. Do not think of anything. Just feel the energy that gave you that firebending technique. You have to become one with the energy. You have to understand the energy within you. And the energy outside you. Goku was sitting in the lotus position somewhat confused. He did not understand how to feel the energy inside and outside him. So, he just tried to think what they mean and then he felt how a stick was hitting him in the head. Stop thinking. You need to concentrate on your energy. Do not think or do anything else. Azula was able to hear a little about the training of his twin brother as she was also training in the same room at that moment. She did not care about it, she was concertining herself in her own training. But once her own training was done, she started to wonder about her twins' training. Her first thought was that it was a waste of time and maybe they were doing that so she can overpass him, then she realized that the old women were really paying special attention to Goku's training. At some point, Goku started to train under Piandao on a few occasions, who was Zuko's sword teacher, but Goku did not want to train with swords, so he began to train him in a very peculiar way as he asked Goku to fight with a small bell and make the bell to not produce a sound while he is moving. This training was brought to Goku after he was defeated multiple times by Piandao, where the fastest and strongest was Goku, but Goku was still unable to land a hit. 6 months had passed since Goku started to train with Piandao and Lee and Lo. Piandao did not stay too much with Goku, as he was training him because he was asked to, but in reality, he did not want to do so, as he did not feel that Goku had what it takes for being his discipline. Goku is always driven by the seek for better fights, and Piandao felt that Goku lacked discipline, and he was a fighter, but never a warrior. For that reason, Piandao gave Goku that impossible task with a small bell. He thought that Goku will never be able to succeed, but he was proved wrong. Later on, thanks to Azula, Goku did not need to train with Piandao again. She was furious at the way her twin brother was being treated. Then one day Goku asked Azula to have a spar. "Azula, we haven't trained together since like forever. Your point is? Do you want to have a little spar?" "Goku, I have seen your training, and somehow, you are getting even worse." "Do you think so?" "Yes." "Well, let's find out. I have increased my personal training, so do not blame me if you get way too hurt this time." "Okay." Azula did not want to ridicule her twin in front of other people, as she did not want bad rumors to spread. This was only for her to witness and enjoy, so she took Goku to a garden that was not visited by anyone. Azula started to fight with close combat without any bending, as she used to do, but none of the punches and kicks were even near to land. She did not know why she was so slow, so she started to press more, round kicks, knees, elbows, punches, nothing was getting even close to hitting Goku. She began to get desperate, and then she started to fire bend, but it was the same, nothing was able to land on Goku. She burned the ground and made a big smoke cloud around Goku, and she went silent. Azula hid in the cloud of dust to attack Goku by surprise, but Goku dodged the hit like if he was able to see her the whole time. Azula tried to do it again and attacked Goku, and the same result happened. Azula was still hiding in the cloud watching Goku while devising a new tactic to attack, but out of nowhere Goku disappear and reappear behind her back, and with a gentle punch near her neck, he knocked her out. Goku carried her and let her rest close to the pond where the turtle ducks were. Azula woke up and saw Goku sitting next to her. So she sat down and with a grin on her face, she asked. "Did you take off the heavy weight?" "No, I am still using them." She was frustrated, her twin brother was way too fast for her, it was as if he could predict her movement. Then somehow, she felt big jealousy burning her insides. "So, are you going to tell father that you finally beat me, so you can be the next heir?" "What? No. Do not lie to me. Only you and Zuko want that. You think I will believe that? Well, I would be a very bad Fire Lord. And in my opinion, you are the fittest for that job. But do not tell Zuko when he comes back, you know he is very sensitive." Seeing Goku answering her with that innocent smile, she knew that he was honest. She could not get angry at him, and for a moment, she thought that maybe that strange training Goku was undergoing was paying off to him. But she still cannot stop feeling that frustration and jealousy. Then Goku surprised her once again. He asked her to keep a secret from a new technique he created. At first, she thought that he was going to fire bend in his unique way, but what he did was something way too different and difficult to believe. He was floating in the air for a moment. "I'm still practicing as I can only go for a small distance from the ground, but I think I can dominate it if I practice a little more." Azula was in shock. She had never heard of anyone that could fly, only maybe the fly bison, but those animals have always been related to the airbenders. So, she thought that maybe her own brother was an airbender, but that was impossible. He is her twin, and both can fire bend, although he can fire bend in a very different way, but is still impossible. The other option is that maybe he is the Avatar that could answer this, but for him to be the Avatar means that 3 other Avatars have already died, and as far as they know nobody has found one Avatar in the last 100 years, which make it difficult for 3 Avatars to already pass away. The other answer could be that his brother has a special bending, which will be more reasonable but still incredible to think. She knew that some people can unlock a new type of bending, just like the Avatar Kyoshi who could lava bend, or her own lighting bend that only a few fire benders can do. Still, this situation should be taken with extreme care. In the worst case scenario, their father will lock his brother as a preventing measure. Azula was deep in her thought while Goku was still smiling at her, then she asked Goku. "Have you showed this to anyone?" "Nope, I wanted to show it to you first." "Great. Now hear me carefully. Do not say to anyone that you have this power." "Okay, but why?" "If you do it on your own, bad things may happen. At least wait to see if I can catch up to you in that. I think that you only want me to teach you this, right?" "Goku. Do not worry, I can teach you, and I promise I will not show it to anyone else." "Great. Now let's get back, I want to take a shower." And Azula's thought was still the idea of jealousy for the lost, but for some reason, she was more concerned about the current situation of her brother. So, she decided to make a little investigation. While in her free time, Azula went to investigate the powers of her twin brother. Her first thing in her mind was that their mother may have something to do with it, maybe because she was related to the avatar Roku, or maybe another thing that she was missing, and the only way to know was by tracking their mother. Azula's only clue about her was that she used to live in a remote village. While making the investigation, she was able to find out some letters of her mother that were supposed to be sent to the village she was from. She read a letter where her mother confessed that Zuko is not Azai's son. That took her by surprise, but in the current situation, it did not matter that much. Zuko was already banished, but, most importantly, it does not answer the question about Goku's ability to fly, although, in her mind thought that her father was benevolent for only banish Zuko when he is just a bastard son from another man. When Azula found where the home village of her mom was located, she started to prepare herself to go, but when she was on her way to track her down, Goku showed up and asked her to also go. Azula accepted as this may help for her mother to speak, so they left the capital and told their father that they wanted to visit Ember Island, while in reality, they went to Hira. The Fire Lord granted her wish as she was giving him good results. In the village, Goku was just smelling the different stalls of food that were displaying. Azula had to take him by the ear and remembered him that they are looking for their mother. Then Goku stopped near a stage that was in the middle of the village. A play was happening with a small audience watching. How many times do I have to tell you that we don't have much time? Is her. What? I can feel it, Mom is one of those actors. They are wearing masks, so how do you know that? Well, ever after my training with the two old women, I somehow detect people, energy. Or was their spirit? Both wait for the play to end and then went to speak with the actors. When they arrived, the actors take off their masks. The actress has a very different face than their mother. Then a little girl arrived running screaming mommy, that was beautiful and hung the woman with care. Goku just started to scratch his head and said. Maybe I was wrong, I am still working on it. They still get close to them and ask them if they knew a woman named Ursa. The female actress tries to answer as the male actor stayed behind as he still needed to take care of the stage. The woman presented herself as Noriko and invite them to her house, then she told them the story of the village that they have about Ursa. Azula was getting upset by the story, so she interrupted the woman. All that is good and all, but can you tell us where to find Ursa? Well, it is said that she went to the Forgetful Valley a few years ago. Thank you, that was all we needed. Goku was playing with a little kid, but Azula grabbed Goku from his shirt to take him outside the house. The tea that Noriko offered to Azula was still full and hot. Goku and Azula entered the Forgetful Valley, and because it was already too late, they spent the night there. In the morning, they found out oddly that everywhere they looked there was a face. Azula did not take too much care about it. Then they found a pond, where Goku asked Azula to rest. Suddenly from the pond, a spirit appeared. It called itself the Mother of Faces. In each season I concede one favor to the humans. Azula saw it with some doubts, then Goku just said. Can you tell us about our mother? Azula then thought that if the spirit was telling the truth with that open question, it may only give us a short answer, but it will not resolve the mystery of their mother. Or that she may have asked about the powers of his brother. But when she was trying to fix her twin error, the spirit started to speak. The one you are referring to is Ursa. I remember her. She came here almost 4 years ago. I could not understand why a human of such beauty would ask for a new face. To test her sincerity, I offered her one as plain as can be, and to grant her wish, I asked her that she would need to forget all from her past life. She accepted. What does forget all from her past life means? People she knew that will no longer be in the life she wanted to have from now on. The spirit showed them the face she had and then her new face. Goku recognized her as it was Noriko, the woman from the play, and when he turns to his sister, she was furious. Not knowing what she could do to the spirit, Goku thanked the spirit and then grabbed her sister and left the forest. Azula knew that her disappearance may have to do with the death of her grandfather and the ascension of his father to the throne, but she did have nothing to prove that, but she did have a letter that she found about her mother having an affair with somebody else, saying that her older brother was their bastard son. Once they left the forest, Azula was determined to kill her own mother, but Goku stopped her. What are you doing? Didn't you hear it? She betrayed us. She wants to forget about us. Every time she was talking bad about me and making complots against me. Every time she was trash talking about you at your back and calling you a fight maniac. Why? Because she loves that peasant even more than her own kids. She deserves to die. Goku did not know what to say to her. He understood why Azula was angry, but for some reason, he couldn't find a way to hate their mother. But his sister was a different story. She looked in pain, she was screaming, and looked like fire may come out from her mouth. He knows that he is not the most intelligent person, so he did not know what to say to her, and the only thing he could do was to hug her. Azula just leaned on Goku and started to cry very loudly. That was the first time that Goku saw Azula crying. The next day they were already in Ember Island. Azula wakes up like nothing had happened, which makes Goku happy. Then she demanded him to teach her how to fly. Goku accepted with a big smile. It has passed 3 years after Goku discovered the adventure, and here Azula can dominate the flight technique from Goku, but is still too much exhausting as it consumes a lot of her energy, while Goku now could fly freely in the air. Their training was kept secret and Azula was satisfied with her progress. She knows that her brother is a true prodigy as he can come up with new techniques by himself, that's why she was not that angry for not being able to fly like him. But what really let her at ease is to know that he was not the Avatar. She is still with doubts about that sense that he had or how he bends fire in his own way, but at least she could realize that he is not the Avatar. In the 3 years that have passed, there were also other changes happening around the twins. For one, Ty Lee escaped her home. One day Ty Lee went to visit Azula. She saw how Goku was training and was cheering for him. Goku did not take too much attention as she used to do that a lot. Later that day, she did not let him go and take a shower as she knew that he may escape from her, so she took him with her to the city and went to eat outside and walk together. Goku did not know what was happening as she was more stuck to his arm than normal, but he could feel that something was off with her, so he let it happen. She took him to a restaurant where the owners recognized Ty Lee as the daughter of a noble family and gave them the best food of the place. Although Goku was just eating and not talking, Ty Lee was with a big smile watching him. Later Ty Lee and Goku went to a small fair where there were some challenges for the public. There Goku and Ty Lee broke every record as they play all the games about strength, equilibrium, and aiming. After a while, Ty Lee and Goku were walking together. Goku had one big toy in his hand that was one of the prizes of the games back at the fair. Then Ty Lee told him with a smile, "I will never forget this day. Goodbye Goku," then hug him and kiss him in the cheek, took the toy and leave the place. When Goku went back to the mansion, Azula was there with a grin on her face, as if it was all her plan. The next day Azula told Goku that Ty Lee left her house to follow her dreams. On the other hand, Mai was still visiting Azula. Although she greets Goku out of formality as he is the prince, she really does not like to spend time with him and tried to stay away from him when he eats, but she does have a good friendship with Azula. Despite the several pranks she received while she was smaller, due to her love for Zuko, she still enjoyed the company of Azula. She is the only one intelligent enough to can make a good conversation with, unlike any other person she has met so far, and another reason for her to keep visit them is to have information of the whereabouts of Zuko. Although all the information came from Goku, and the only one he could get was where he was last seen by the army. But unfortunately, due to the next move to can take over Amashu, she left the capital with her family to be there. Her father said that the victory would be easy, but they need to show how compromised is the family, so the whole family went there. Even his baby brother was in the camp. That happened 3 months ago. Fortunately for Azula, another confirmation that her twin brother is not the Avatar arrived as Fire Lord Ozai called for her. "We have received information from our fleet in the north. The Avatar was spotted there. But the most concerning information is that your uncle Iroh had become a real traitor for the Fire Nation and your brother is a complete failure. He had the Avatar in his hands in multiple times and he failed to capture him. I have something for you to do." "Yes, father." "Capture your older brother and uncle. We cannot let them destroy the name of the royal family any longer." "I will." Azula still has fresh memories about what the spirit told them about her mother, and she had this big resentment against his older brother Zuko, her mom's favorite son. So, she accepted the mission with pleasure. She felt like she could take on her uncle or Zuko with no problem, but if they team up, that can be somehow troublesome. Once in her room, she was thinking of going with a weapon or not, but then her twin brother enters her room really excited. "Is it true? When would you learn to knock on the door before you enter?" "But is it true?" "Is it true what?" "You are going to go to capture Zuko and uncle." "I didn't know that you hate Zuzu." "No, I don't, but if there is a good fight I want to go too. I heard that Uncle Iroh was a good fighter with his bending." "Ahaha, you never change." "So, can I go with you?" "I don't know. This is the first mission that father gives to me." "Oh, come on. You know that the only person I can fight is you, and if you leave, it will be so boring. Also, it will be so cool if we can fight other strong people." "Not my problem. Besides, is Dad the one who calls the missions, not me?" "Okay, be right back." "Where are you going?" "I am going to ask Dad." "What? Wait." In Goku's mind, he couldn't see his older brother as a traitor, so maybe if Zuko came back, he could clear up the misunderstanding, and maybe they could train with him for the first time. So as fast as Goku could, he left Azula's room and ran to the throne room. Azula tried to catch up on him but could not. She saw his brother entering the throne room and she just stood outside of it, waiting to see his brother returning. She did not know how her father will react. Then Goku came out from the room. It only passed less than 3 minutes, but Goku was with a big smile. He said that as long as you are okay, he doesn't care. "So, it means that I am going with you." Azula just hit her forehead with her hand's palm. She felt stupid for being so worried about it. At the ship, Goku and Azula were training on the deck. They were making a light spar, but the rest of the crew was amazed to see the agility of both of them. Azula had increased her agility since she started to train with Goku, and even when she is still unable to be at Goku's pace, she did not need to, as she knew Goku very well. Azula was able to catch up with the sense of others while fighting. She also was smarter than Goku, and whenever she wanted, she could change strategy and end the fight, but she tends to do that when she got bored or frustrated, as she really uses the spar session as a way to train and become stronger. For the eyes of the ship crew, they thought that the twins were like two powerful dragons fighting each other. The speed was just too amazing, and some of them had problems following up. A punch that was too close to landing was dodged with just a neck movement. A kick was stopped with another kick. Defending and attacking at the same time. Sometimes they saw their fists collide with each other, and they could only imagine how painful it was, but the twins continued the fight as if nothing. Knees and elbows bumping, two straight fists meeting at the same time. Even when they were brother and sister, and this was supposed to be a light spar, the punches and kicks were too real, too strong, and looked too painful. Then a gong sound and the princess started to launch fire-bending attacks, well the prince just dodged them, and then he sends a strong fire line which missed its target and went straight to the sea. Due to the direction of the fire-bending blast of Goku, the water opened its way for the strength of the blast, for that reason some water wet the princess and the prince. Azula used this and jumped very high and used her lighting technique to the deck where there was some water, causing her brother to fall as the water drove the lighting towards him. Princess Azula was panting from exhaustion, as was Prince Goku who was lying on the ground, who then stood up. The whole crew thought about clapping but stopped because they didn't know how they would react to that. Nevertheless all the crew members were amazed and motivated. When the ship arrived at their destiny, Azula asked Goku to stay in the ship, and even when he wanted to go with her as he wanted to fight his uncle, she stopped him and asked him to wait, and if he is needed, he can go ahead and fight, but she will try to do it more calmly. Goku accepted and wait on the ship. Azula wants to be 100% sure that she can capture her older brother and her uncle. Azula then leave and went to a small house where Zuko was. This information was given to her by the reports of local Fire Nation soldiers. She was able to sneak inside the house. Well, no surprise, she felt that her brother and uncle may not know the mess they are into, as they were talking about trivial things. Hello, brother. Uncle. What are you doing here? In my country, we exchange a pleasant hello before asking questions. Have you become uncivilized so soon, Zuzu? Don't call me that. To what do we owe this honor? Must be a family trait. Both of you were so quick to get to the point. I've come with a message from home. Father's changed his mind. Family is suddenly very important to him. He's heard rumors of plans to overthrow him, treacherous plots. Family are the only ones you can really trust. Father regrets your banishment. He wants you home, and Goku is very excited to see you again. Did you hear me? You should be happy. Excited. Grateful. I just gave you great news. I'm sure your brother simply needs a moment. Don't interrupt, uncle. I still haven't heard my thank you. I'm not a messenger. I didn't have to come all this way. Father regrets. He wants me back. I can see you need time to take this in. I'll come to call on you tomorrow. Good evening. Her plan was simple, lying to her brother and uncle, saying that there is a conspiracy to overthrow him and he wants his family close for that reason. It sounded perfect for a sentimentalist like her older brother. The next morning Zuko and Iroh appeared on the shore to can aboard the ship when the captain of the ship made the stupid comment of, "We are taking the prisoners," which opened the fight against both of them and the whole crew. Iroh, even when he was old, he was still too powerful for the soldiers. Meanwhile, Zuko attacked Azula, but he was not able to land any punch, kick or fire bend, as Azula was moving as she already knew where he was going to attack. She was toying with him, and when she was going to finally attack him, her uncle Iroh attacked her from behind and threw her to the sea. Then Iroh and Zuko took that moment to escape. When Azula finally made it back to the ship, Goku just opened one of the doors to take some fresh air. He was yawning as he just wakes up. Then she asked, "What happened? Why are you so wet?" Azula just shook her hair to hit him with it and entered the ship so she could change her clothes. After she cleaned herself, she looked for guidance from the old women Lo and Lee. They advised her that she need to be more flexible if she wanted to capture her uncle and brother. So Azula thought to create an elite group of trusted people. The next stop for Goku and Azula was one of the colonies of the Fire Nation inside the Earth Kingdom, where a circus was present. Goku went with Azula this time. They went to the place where all the artists of the circus were. Goku was amazed at being able to see some strange animals like an elephant, not an elephant rat or a camel elephant, just elephant, which was strange. Then Azula stood in front of a girl who was upside down. She seemed like she was training. Azula then said, "Ty Lee, is that you? When the girl noticed Azula, she just changed her position as soon as she could to bow to her and then go ahead to hug her. I am so happy to see you. Well, I do not want to interrupt whatever you were doing. Then Ty Lee backflips and stayed in a contortion position. Tell me, what is doing the daughter of a noble family in this place? I do not think that our parents send us to the Royal Fire Academy for girls to end up working in a place like this. She said that while looking at some people working with some animals. I want to propose to you something. Do you remember my fat uncle, right? Of course, he was very funny. It will be an honor if you can come with me to do this mission to capture him. Well, obviously, my twin brother is also coming with us. Azula pointed with her eyes to the direction where Goku was, making Ty Lee to fall from her position and then recover herself. Then Goku arrived with some food in his hands and mouth. The food of this circus is delicious. Do you like it? Yeah. Ty Lee was blushing while speaking with Goku. She hasn't seen him for a long time and now it seems that he is even more handsome. Then Azula asked her. So, will you come with us? Thank you, it will be an honor, but you will come with us. That sounds great, it seems that you are getting stronger. Thank you Goku, but I am happy here. My aura is pinker than ever. You can see aura's color? I mean I can feel yours, but I cannot distinguish the colors. Goku was stepping closer and closer to Ty Lee, making her blush more and more. Then Goku asked. Can you show me how to distinguish colors? In second thought, I may need to explore some more to expand my possibilities and get new experiences. Really? I am glad. After that Ty Lee said goodbye to her colleagues in the circus and went with Azula. Right there Azula told them that they will need to go for one more person, so they will need to go to Amashu. When they arrived at the city of Amashu, they were a little worried that the city was empty, except for the guards. Azula was carried with a palanquin and Ty Lee was walking at her side, while Goku was also walking behind all of them as he was enjoying the view of the city and did not like all the royal process. The only person that was waiting for them was Mai, the daughter of the new governor of the city. Please, tell me that came to kill me. I am glad to see you Mai. Mai and Azula hugged. Then Ty Lee also hugged her. I thought that you escaped from your parents to follow your dreams. You said that you felt the call. Then Mai saw Goku behind all the people, she just smiled and said to Ty Lee. But I see that you hear the call of someone else. Ty Lee just blushed lightly. Then Azula interrupted them. I have a mission to complete and I need both of you on our team. Count on me. I will do whatever to can get out of here. After that, the group went inside the palace. There Azula sighted on the throne while the governor and his wife were bowing to her, also her two friends. Goku was standing at her side, as he does not know too much about those protocols, as he never paid attention to those classes or any classes that were not about fighting, so he let his sister make the whole process. And that meeting was set that Azula will stay in charge when the negotiation of the exchange of prisoners happens. It seems that the resistance of the place did a very low trick as they kidnapped the gubernator's baby. They choose to make the whole exchange thing in the area where construction was happening. The king that was captured was inside a metal coffin. And the rebels with the kid were as young as Goku, or even younger. They were just 3 and were using clothes that were not from the Earth Kingdom. Goku thought that Azula recognized that and decided to call off the deal, so the baby must be taken by force, as they do not know how dangerous are those people, or at least that's what Goku thought. As fast as Azula said that the deal was off, one of the rebels started to run to where the king was. His speed was impressive, and more his strength in his legs, as he was able to jump very high, but Azula was as strong as the kid and was able to stop him from taking the metal coffin, and when he was falling, he uses a glider and then the clothes of his head fell, showing up that he was bold. And that he had a tattoo of a blue arrow in his head. Mai and Ty Lee attacked the other 2 who were using blue clothes. Meanwhile, Goku was just checking if any of them needed help. Mai uses her weapons as she was launching knives at them, always aiming at the legs of the guy that had his baby brother in his arms. Ty Lee used the time that they were distracted by the knives to can get closer and attack them. Unfortunately, one of the 2 was a waterbender, was a girl with a bag full of water in her waist. She was very good at defending herself from the attacks, making the water turn into a wall of ice. The other guy was tackled down by Ty Lee with 1 hit. The guy was too close to falling from the building, but he was okay. But when Goku saw that the guy with the kid was escaping, he moved and stopped him. Give the baby back to his family, said Goku, and then he just took the baby and kicked the guy to the floor. Then Goku screamed, I am going to take the baby to his family. Mai, Ty Lee, please take care of them. Then he looked like he disappears. Mai looked at Ty Lee and said, now he does orders. Since when your boyfriend does that? Ty Lee smiled a little and said, he is not my boyfriend yet. At that time the bald boy was followed by Azula. They were in the mailing lines of Amashu. The bald kid was using the metal coffin of the old king as a surfboard to escape, and Azula was using a small earth box used for transporting things with the mailing system. Without the guy that was kicked by Goku and without the bald one that was persecuted by Azula, the third person was still able to defend herself as she was using water bending, but then Ty Lee was able to use her Kai block, and the water bender was unable to continue to use her bending, but then the guy that was sent flying by Goku returned in a flying bison. The bison was able to create a strong wind blow that sent Mei and Ty Lee away, and then they used the fly bison to escape. At the same time in the railing mail, Azula was still chasing for the bold kid and the old king. It seems that it was a matter of time until the line could end, and she knew that she could use that moment to capture the kid and the old king. Unfortunately, out of nowhere a wall of earth was erected and she could not continue her chase. It seems that the old king was still able to make earth bending due to his face being free. Azula looked to the end of the line as she tried to study the next move of her opponents, but suddenly the old king sliced back at her and the bold kid left the place. Either they knew that they could not take her and the old man will try to buy him time, or it is a trap. But when the old king arrived at her feet, he did not try to attack her. So, she decided to only take him under the custody of the governor. In the end, Azula was able to recapture the king and the baby was back with his family. But even when the whole mission could be considered as a success, for Azula the thing that was in her mind was that the Avatar was there. After the incident in Amashu, Azula started to try to track down the Avatar. She was able to find a lead as Goku found some fur from the flying bison they were using to escape. But instead of going after the Avatar right away, Azula decided to wait and get a transporting war machine to aid them. Inside the war machine, Azula and her friends were very comfy, but Goku was very desperate. He preferred to run or fly himself, but his sister told him to go with them as the flying technique needed to be better and that they need to transport Ty Lee and Mai. After a few days, they were able to catch up with the Avatar. Once they were able to watch the flying bison, they only got closer but not enough so they can be able to get into a full attack. That was Azula's plan as she wants to capture the Avatar. Although Goku would love to fight him one-on-one, Azula told him that to catch him without risking the lives of their friends and the military, they need to do it that way, and Goku reluctantly agreed. Then while Goku was sleeping, they decided to attack the Avatar as they stopped running. Azula, Mai, and Ty Lee get out with some mongoose lizards, but the Avatar escaped again. After a while Goku waked up and realized that her sister and her friends were not there. Then the pilot told Goku where they went and started to run in that direction. Then he jumped to a cliff which made the pilot worried. But when he looked down there was nobody and it seems that the trees from the forest were moving. Goku was able to reach the girls, they were near a little river. "Oh, you finally wake up. Why did you let me behind?" "Because you sleep half a day." Ty Lee was laughing a little bit. But Mai was watching Goku as she tries to understand something. "So, what do I miss?" "The Avatar tried to trick us, he is leaving the trace behind in one direction, but for the way the trees are, it seems that their flying bison went in another direction." "Oh, I see. Mai and Ty Lee, you go to the direction where the fly bison will be. Goku, you come with me. We are going where this trace takes us." The group separated. When Goku and Azula left, Ty Lee asked Mai with an upset voice. "So, are you switching from Zuko to Goku?" "What are you talking about?" "Well, I saw the way you were looking at him." "Ah. I was wondering how he could catch up with us that fast without a mongoose lizard. It seems that he came running, but he did not look tired or anything." "Oh, it was just that. I won't take away your muscle boyfriend." On the Goku and Azula side, Goku was running at the par of the mongoose lizard until they entered a little abandoned town. In the center of the town was a kid, he looked a few years younger than them, with a tattoo of an arrow on his head. "Very well, you found me. Now tell me, who are you? And what do you want?" "You mean you haven't guessed? Can't you see the family resemblance? Here is a hint. I must find the Avatar to restore my honor." Goku laughed a little, but the Avatar was still standing, almost too serious. "It's okay, you can laugh, it's funny. So, what now?" Now is over. You're tired and have no place to go. You can run, but I'll catch you." "I am not running." "Oh. Do you want to fight with any of us?" Then all of a sudden Zuko appeared and said, "Yes, that's what I want." "Zuko? I was wondering when will you show up, Zuzu." "Ahaha, Zuzu. I do not mind fighting any of them. I want to know how strong Zuko has become, but I also want to know if the Avatar is as strong as the legends say." "Back off you two, the Avatar is mine. You choose the opponent you want, sis." Then after building some tension, Azula attacked Zuko. Goku went directly to the Avatar, who blew a wind to Goku and sent him to fly, but in the air, Goku blasted his fire, bending to the Avatar who tried to leave with his glider. The blast passed close to the avatar and was able to take him down, so Goku went for him. Usually, Goku is in the defensive position as his sister is the one that tries to overpower him with her attacks, but this time he was the one that initiated the attack. Meanwhile, the avatar was able to dodge most of the punches and attacks he received, but that was because he was using his air bending to move faster to the sides, but the only punch Goku landed sent the avatar flying into the walls of different buildings. Then when Goku was about to hit the avatar to knock him down, he felt the presence of another person attacking him, so he was able to dodge the attack of the waterbender that attacked him from behind. Do you mind? This is a one-on-one. We do mind. Then a boomerang appeared, but Goku was able to dodge it. Then Azula appeared and attacked the guy with the boomerang and also attacked the waterbender girl. At the same time, Goku, who was distracted by the possible attacks on his sister, was attacked by the avatar from behind when he used a stick of his glider to create a strong air blow and send Goku flying with his air bending. Azula kept on the attack, but suddenly another young earthbender appeared and moved the floor where Azula was standing. Azula, knowing she was outnumbered, decided to retire, but then Zuko and Iroh appear and all of them cornered Azula. Azula put her hands to the air and make a little signal with her finger. Goku was flying over all of them, observing everything, and saw the sign Azula was doing, so he was waiting for the best moment to appear. Suddenly Azula attacked Iroh, which made that everybody attacked Azula at the same time. That was the signal Goku was waiting to blast again his fire bending and create a big smoke, and he used that time to take his sister and left. While in the sky, Goku and Azula were flying back where Mai and Ty Lee should be. Why are we going back? They seem that they are not that strong. First, this was just to let you have your mind clear. I felt for a while your hesitation to fight Zuko. I know that you only came to fight Uncle Iroh, but now you have clear evidence that Zuko was with the Avatar. Well, yeah. And second, the Avatar is capable of annihilating an entire fleet by himself, so we cannot take him so lightly. That is why this fight was just to understand a little more the way they fight. Oh, I see. Once the twins were close to where Mai and Ty Lee were, they landed and continued their way on foot. After the last encounter with the Avatar, Azula decided to rest for a day and keep the tracks later on, as the flying bison seems that is not leaving traces of hair at the moment, but the break did not last long, because a few days later they found again traces of the animal again. This time Goku was up, so he followed the girls. But it seems that the flying bison was with a group of warrior girls who were using paint in their faces, and every one of them has the same pattern and colors. What do you want from us? Who are you? The Avatar's fangirls. If you were after the Avatar, you are out of luck. No Avatar, huh? Well, that's okay. Any friend of the Avatar is an enemy of mine. Then the fight broke up, a one-sided fight, even when the warriors in front were the Kyoshi warriors, and were 6 of them, with only Azula and Goku, the fight may have ended very quickly. Azula sent fire near the flying bison, which made it escape. The fight was over rather quickly, and Azula took the Kyoshi warriors as prisoners. After that fight, Azula received a letter from a general. He was inviting Azula and Goku to be present and witness the moment the wall of Ba Sing Se is taking down. Because they have the perfect machine for the job and they solicit the royal family on that special occasion. Azula decided to go, but Goku wanted to stay behind as he does not like to travel with those machines. He prefers the idea of a fight with his own body instead of using some machines to win battles. Azula agreed with it because she wants to leave someone capable behind and guard the ship where the Kyoshi warriors were held captive. While Azula and her friends were gone, Goku decided to go to a Fire Nation ship. He asked the guards to transport everything to the ship so they moved the prisoners also. Meanwhile, Goku went to train on the deck. In that ship were Lo and Lee, who told Goku that he should go and continue his meditation training. But Goku was worried about his sister. I am sorry. But this is the first time that Azula is not with me. Well, why don't you see what she is doing? I can do that from here. If you can concentrate, you will be able to find her energy and know where is she and what she is doing. You will know if she is safe. Or if she is in danger. Okay, I will try. Goku spent the afternoon seated in a lotus position. He felt the presence of his sister and her friends. He also felt the presence of other 5 familiar people. 2 of them entered Ba Sing Se and the other 3 were close to his sister. He realized that it was the Avatar and his companions as he could recognize 2 of them, the waterbender and the boomerang guy. Goku opened his eyes and wanted to go, but he was stopped by the 2 old women. You haven't completed your training. But Azula is in danger. Do you think that the princess is that weak? No, but. Now sit and continue. Goku sighed again and started to concentrate on his sister and her friends. He could realize that the companions of the Avatar were able to enter the machine and they were doing something inside it. He tried to concentrate on Azula until he felt how the 3 girls started to go towards the Avatar and his companions. In the meantime, when Goku was concentrating, the old women asked some soldiers to bend some fireballs where the prince was. Every time they launched fireballs Goku dodged it, but it did not seem to be opening his eyes and his concentration was not interrupted. Many fireballs were thrown at Goku and none of them were able to hit him. Meanwhile, Goku was still in the same position without missing anything about the battle of his sister and the Avatar. He could learn that the machine where Azula was stopped working as the men inside were running like crazy and Azula and her friends seemed to have left the place. So, he smiled and stood up. Then he realized that many soldiers were panting heavily and others were lying on the floor as they looked too tired. Well done, Prince Goku. Goku just smiled without knowing what happened and advised the two women that Azula and her friends were coming back and also tell them not to ask about what happened in the wall. The old women smiled and then made a little reverence at Goku. When Azula arrived, Goku realized that he should not say a word as she was furious about what happened. So Goku went with Mai, who was the only one that was still clean, and asked her to tell his sister that he will be visiting Ba Sing Se for a while. Goku changed his clothes, which look the same except that it has green in his shirt, yellow in his pants, and without the symbol of the royal family. Mai only makes a little reverence, and Goku left the ship. Goku arrived late in the afternoon at Ba Sing Se. He just flew over the wall, with great luck as he was not spotted. He saw the rings of the city and saw the poor state of the lower ring, later he entered the middle ring, then the upper ring, but he did not know where he was, so he just got down in a spot where there was no one. Then he tried to walk out of the upper ring, but because the fabric of his clothes looked very expensive, the guards asked him to stay at the upper ring, as it was already too late, and advised him to go back to his house. Goku did not know what to do, so he just walked and started to concentrate, so he could feel the presence of the people inside the houses, until he could find an empty one. He found one and went inside it. He was hoping to wait until night to can escape in the dark, but he fell asleep. The next day, Goku took his time to walk around the middle ring to check some stores and buy some food. Many merchants saw Goku and tried to sell him something because there were many of them. Goku decided to run. Then in the lower ring, he was able to walk a little bit until it was late at night, so he used that opportunity to sneak out the walls. When he finally arrived at the ship, Azula was waiting for him in his room. Then, what were you able to find? What? You went inside Ba Sing Se without me, so I hope you at least bring me something. Sorry, I did not take too much money and many of the merchants there. I am not interested in a tour gift. I want to know if you were able to find something interesting regarding our mission. Well, I was able to feel the presence of the Avatar and his companions, and weird enough, his bison was underground, but I don't know if that was their parking lot, but it seemed protected. Interesting. Oh, and Zuko and Uncle Iroh were also inside, but they were in the lower ring. Azula just smiled and left the room. On the next morning Goku woke up for breakfast, but in the room was a discussion about what to do next. Azula was the only one talking, and sporadically the old women give a commentary on the plan. Goku, you entered the city. What do you think? Azula asked her brother, who was still eating some food and needed to pass it so he could answer. After he was able to do it, he answered. Well, you can always dress up as I did. That's it. You are a genius. Ailee hugged Goku while he tries to tell her to let him eat in peace. We do have the clothes of the Avatar's fangirls. Please tell me that you are joking. That makeup is only for buffoons. Well, we need to act like buffoons to infiltrate in Ba Sing Se. Azula asked a soldier for him to go where the Kyoshi warriors are and retrieve their clothing, but then Goku said. Ah, wait. The soldier stopped and Azula saw the face of Goku that looked a little concerned about sending that male soldier to do the job. Correct. You and you, go and take their clothes and give them some rags. Is that better? I guess. The other soldiers Azula chose were females. For Azula, there was no difference if they were males or females, they were her prisoners, her toys, that is why she thought that maybe her brother was a little too soft. But she knew that her brother will go everywhere with her, so she tries to please him with this kind of thing from time to time. When Azula left with her friends to ask for an audition with the Earth King, Goku was on the ship. He was again bored after the training, so he decided to go to Ba Sing Se again. He decided to fly and land near the backyard of the house he stayed in the other night, as he already knows that is empty. Then he got out running, and without knowing it he bumped into a small girl. Her eyes were gray and made her look like a blind person, but then again, she was able to stand up and walk without any help. She was wearing a yellow robe, some green in her shirt and pants. She also was barefoot. Look where you are going, fatty. Sore fatty. Yes, fatty, everyone can see that you are overweight. Really? I think that I am somehow average, maybe a little slim, but fat. Look, I do not know from when you came from fatty. But I have important things to do. Oh yay, and sorry. Then Goku saw that the girl was going to the house he stayed in the other day. Do you live there? What do you care? Well, it seems that the house is empty, you know, no furniture and… Look, this is not your business, so get lost. Oh, okay. Goku was somehow interested in her attitude. She reminded him of his twin sister. He could feel the presence of two people inside the house, but as he said, the house does not have furniture. That is why he had a hunch that something bad was going to happen. That is why he decided to stay there and make sure that nothing wrong will happen to her. Meanwhile, the girl could feel with her feet that the guy was still there. She was using her earth bending to feel the presence through the earth. She could feel that he was pretty heavy, maybe around 350 pounds 160 kilos. Unfortunately, as the guy said, she could also feel that inside the house there wasn't anyone, but she did not want to believe that. She just took a deep breath and opened the doors of the house. Once inside she started to call for her family. Hello? Mom? Anyone at home? She walks inside the house and then suddenly a metal cage fell from the top. The cage did not have any slits or anything. She got scared as she could not see anymore and started to scream. Who do you think you're dealing with? Then two men appear from the top and said. With one loud-mouthed little brat who strayed too far from home. Goku saw everything and stepped inside the house. You better take her out of that cage, or else. One of the men confront Goku and said, or else what? Goku rushed and punched him in the stomach that made him fell on his knees, then he passed out. The other man looked afraid of Goku and earthbend the floor tiles to Goku, but Goku did not try to defend himself from the tiles. After half of the tiles of the house were used to attack Goku, a little cloud of dust was in the room, but once the cloud dispersed, Goku was still standing without a scratch, then he just disappears and Reaper behind the man and punch him close to the neck and that knocked him down. Then he started to search in the belongings of the two men for the key. At the same time, the girl was able to hear that there was a fight outside, but then everything went silent for a while. She was hoping that one of her friends came back to save her, but she knew that all of them were in different places. She was getting scared even more for the silent. Then the cage opened up. She was sitting with his arms around her knees, but when she heard that the cage got opened, she heard a voice. Are you okay? The voice was the same as the guy outside the house. Then a hand took her arm and helped her to get up and get out. Once she set foot on the earth, she was able to understand. The two men that attacked her were Yu, the earthbender teacher, and Xing Fu, the promoter of the Earth Rumble. Both of them were unconscious. So, you know them? Yeah, they used to be some kind of friends. Oh. Sorry. Thanks for rescuing me, and sorry for calling you fatty. No problem. By the way, my name is Goku. Goku? Well, nice to meet you, Goku. I am tough. You're tough. Do you know how to fight? Not tough, but I do know how to defend myself if I am touching the earth. So, you are an earthbender. What kind of bending you used to defeat them? None, I used only my hands. Really? Well, that means that you are really strong. Care to demonstrate that someday? Sure. Then the stomach of Goku started to growl. Toph laughed a little and said. What if I pay you this rescue with something to eat? Really? That would be great. Even though the boy's name was the same as the second prince of the Fire Nation, he was the one who saved her. For that Toph did not have complaints, but she may have some regrets in offer him to eat. It seems that he truly was a fat boy as he was eating a lot of food, but somehow that looked funny to her. After that, they walked a little, in the direction of the house where Toph was staying. They talked a little about what they are doing. Toph told him that she was traveling with friends, but now all of them are doing important things, but she is a little worried about one of them as she should be at home right now. Goku told her that he was traveling with his sister and her friends, but they are out right now, and he was ordered to stay back. That is why he is hiding from his sister, so she won't get mad at him. When it was getting darker, Goku said goodbye to her and went back to the ship. In another part of the Ba Sing Sea, Azula and her friends were planning their moves to capture the Avatar. They successfully captured Zuko and the waterbender girl who travels with the Avatar. Azula knew that it is only a question of time for her uncle Iroh and the rest of Avatar's followers to fall into her trap. She could make this move because she already took over the Dai Li forces, outsmarting their previous leader. While in prison, Azula persuaded Zuko to join her. She was planning to use the Dai Li forces as a meat shield against the Avatar, but knowing that her uncle Iroh may show up, she will need them to entertain him while she fights the Avatar. Zuko will become her option to distract the Avatar if necessary. She does not know if the reports of the destruction of the ships were correct because he has not shown that kind of power yet, but she could never be that sure. She was sure that she could fight the Avatar one-on-one and win if he fights as he has done so far. Unfortunately, because this part of the mission is too dangerous, she asked Mai and Ty Lee to stay behind. They are her friends and possibly will become family in the future thanks to Zuko and Goku. Too bad that her twin brother was left behind. She will need to make it up for him because this fight was the only reason for him to come to this trip to fight strong opponents, but she thinks that somebody was needed to take care of the Kyoshi warriors. When she finally fought the Avatar, she was happy about the adjustments of the plan. The Dai Li forces were helpful, and her brother was easy to persuade. Thanks to Zuko and the Dai Li forces, she did not have too much of a problem attacking the Avatar, even when she knew that if Goku was with her, it would have been easier, but the assistance was acceptable, and she could kill the Avatar with her lighting attack. A day has passed after Goku came back to the ship. He woke up and went to have breakfast, and when he found out that Zuko was with him. "You're back. Tell me, did you get stronger? Did you defeat the Avatar? Wait, you finally left your hair to grow." The great emotion that Goku had to make the crew smile, the only one that was not smiling was Zuko himself. Azula just told Goku to calm down, as he will be tired after the fight against the Avatar, because Zuko could kill him. Goku was surprised that Zuko had chosen to kill the Avatar, but his sister told him it was needed to finish the war. On one of the nights, on their way back home, Goku decided to go to the deck for a while, then he saw Zuko and Mai kissing, which confused Goku. Why would they do that? Though Goku, then Azula appeared from his back. "You know that is bad manners to eyedrop other people." "Oh. That wasn't my intention. I was just wondering why were they kissing. That is what couples do." "Couples? They are going to be married, remember?" "Oh yeah. But I do not remember seeing our parents doing that." "Well, I guess that they did not show it off in public like them." After that Goku saw how Zuko and Mai entered the same room and that made him have more questions, but when he wanted to ask his sister, she was no longer there. Goku ended up confused about that subject, but he decided to talk about it with another person later. Once they returned to the Fire Nation, Azula and Goku went to the Fire Lord Hall, where Azula told her father and other generals that were present how Zuko killed the Avatar. "Azula, Goku. Give me your mission report. While in the Earth Kingdom, we were able to capture the Kyoshi warriors. Thanks to Goku's plan, I was able to infiltrate inside and seize the power, and Zuko was able to corner the Avatar. I was amazed by the determination, power and ferocity he showed up, and without hesitation or help, he slew the Avatar." Fire Lord Ozai smirked while the other generals were also happy, and some of them were proud of Goku to see that he was able to come up with a plan like that, as they remember him to be a great warrior, but a poor strategist. "I expect your written report with the details, but right now, it is a moment for celebration. The family is together again." After a few days, in the main square, there was a celebration for the comeback of Azula, Goku, and Zuko, but Goku did not appear in the main spot as he was left behind when the fight against the Avatar broke up, neither when Azula took over Ba Sing Se. Instead, he was standing at the right side of his father, the Fire Lord Ozai. Ozai was pleased with Goku as he seems to be the mastermind of the capture of Ba Sing Se and the attack against the Avatar, although he thinks that he should be more assertive so he can take the credit that helped out, so his real kids were the ones that were celebrated. Both were watching the ceremony from the window of one room at the top of the building. Goku was smiling at all the ovation his siblings were receiving from the Fire Nation citizens that were there. Then Ozai started to talk with Goku. "Even when you are not there, you still need a reward." "Thanks, but more than a reward, I have a question." Goku answered his father and turned to see him, while Ozai was still watching the sea of people in front of him. "On our way back, I saw Zuko and Mai together. Azula told me that they were doing some things because they will get married. How come only Zuko knows with who will he get married? Is that something you choose? Or do people have to choose it for you? I never expected that you would be interested in that at your age. But do not worry, if you wish you can choose whoever you want for your partner, that will be your reward, only remember. The person you select will be in our family, so you better choose a strong person." After that Ozai left the room, leaving a more confused Goku alone. So, he has to choose his fiancée now, but she needs to be strong. That part sounded good, but then again, he does not think that Mai was chosen as the wife to be for Zuko because of her strength. He resolved that he may need to ask his sister about it, she is usually the one that helps him with that kind of thing. The next day, Zuko was in the turtle duck's pond feeding them, he looked depressed. Then Azula appeared alone and started to chat with Zuko. "So, you were here. Tell me, what happened? You seem so downcast." "I haven't seen Dad yet. It has passed 3 years since I was banished." "So what?" "I didn't capture the Avatar." "Who cares? The Avatar is dead unless you think he somehow miraculously survived." "No. There's no way he could have survived." "Well, then I'm sure you have nothing to worry about." Then Goku showed up and tried to get close to both of them, but Zuko suddenly stood up and left the place. Goku looked disappointed and then he got closer to Azula. "What happened?" "Zuko? It seems that he was overwhelmed by everything. Maybe he is still not used to be back in the mansion." "Oh, I know, what if we go to Ember Island? We used to pass a good time together when we were kids." Azula just rubbed Goku's hair and left the place, and while she was walking out, she said. "You are going to be late with your training with the elite soldiers." At night, when Azula was trying to sleep, Zuko entered her room. That annoyed Azula. The lack of manners run into my brother's veins. Knock before entering. Why did you and Goku tell father that I was the one who killed the Avatar? Can't this wait until the morning? It can't. Fine. You seemed so worried about how father would treat you because you hadn't captured the Avatar. We figured if we gave you the credit you'd have nothing to worry about. But why? Goku is not smart enough to come with a plan like that, so the one who thought about this plot was you. You're mean to your siblings. We only care for you. We wanted to thank you for your help and I was happy to share the glory. You're lying. If you say so. You have another motive for doing this. I just haven't figured out what it is. Please Zuko, what ulterior motive could we have? What could I possibly gain by letting you get all the glory for defeating the Avatar? Unless, somehow, the Avatar was actually alive. All that glory would suddenly turn to shame and foolishness. But you said it yourself, there was no way he could survive. Sleep well, Zuzu. The next weekend, I invited Goku for a reunion for the next move of the Fire Nation. At the same time, Azula and Zuko were asked to take a vacation on Ember Island. The invitation to Goku was made after some of the generals' advice, as Goku was the one that came up with the plan to take over the Earth Kingdom and the capture slay of the Avatar. For Goku this was something boring and did not want to take part in it. Fortunately for Goku, Azula knew about it and told him what to say. On the day of the meeting, before it started, I gave the word to Goku. I am honored to be at this reunion. Although my accomplishment is small, I hope to can provide assistance. Please, guide me if I am mistaken. We are the ones honored by your presence, Prince Goku. But please do not be so humble. We know that you made the plan to take over Ba Sing Se. Thank you. But honestly, the plan worked out because the number of people in it was small, and the actors were all people with abilities outside the extraordinary, and my plan was to put them in the right place, so they could attack freely when they think that the time was right. Goku was nervous, as he was saying the exact same words Azula told him. She told him to do this as one of the generals appreciate the guerrilla tactics, and the best part is that he was one of Goku's previous teachers. The general in question felt touched by what Goku said, even when the prince looked like he did not care about his lectures, he really understood and learned from him. I do think that my style is still lacking, but General Tumen is the one who taught me about it, so I do think that he can provide a better view. The Fire Lord Ozai was not fooled by Goku's words. He knew that he did not want to be there, since Goku only appreciates being a warrior, and Ozai has a hunch that the only reason he did not participate is to stop the Kyoshi warriors if they tried to escape. He still believes that Goku was the one that came for the plan on how to infiltrate Ba Sing Se, but he does not think that he made an elaborate one. Thinking that way, Ozai started to talk. It is good that one of my kids does understand the importance of these reunions. Although it is good that you are humble, you do not have to lower yourself. I do think that you have the quality to be a good tactician in the future, but right now you may still lack knowledge of warfare. You may leave, later we can introduce you to some literature that can feed your knowledge. General Tumen, please recommend the best books of your preference to Prince Goku. Goku bowed and left the room. He was relieved that the plan of Azula worked, and the next thing he did was to go to the kitchen as he was hungry for all the tension he just passes through. After eating, Goku went to Ember Island to catch up with the rest. He went to a part of the beach where there was nobody and started to fly to can catch up with the rest. When Goku arrived on the island, he went directly to the cabin of his family. Inside was already Azula, Zuko, and their friends. Ty Lee suddenly jumped at Goku and said, "You came." Azula just smiled a little, but Mai and Zuko were somehow suspicious about how he was able to catch up to them. Then Zuko said to him, "Didn't you suppose to be at the reunion?" He was angered as his father still prefers Goku over him. His banishment happened when he overspoke in one of those reunions, but Goku was invited by the Fire Lord himself and the generals, and instead of taking that reunion as the most important thing, decided to leave. Now he is here instead of helping his country. Goku just answered, "It seems that it was a mistake and I shouldn't be there." He was a little nervous about the lie, then Mai started to questioning Goku. "Where is your boat?" "My boat?" "Yes, it should be very fast as you were able to come too quickly." "Well, you see, the son of one of the generals was also going to come here, so he gives me a ride." "And where is he?" "Oh, he needed to come back because he forgot something." "What did?" "Well, we are going to the beach, come with us." Azula intervened before Mai made another question and started to walk through the beach. Once there, everybody was in their clothes for the occasion, except for Goku, who was still using the same clothes he uses to train. Ty Lee asked Goku if he forgot his swim clothes, and Goku just answered that he does not have one. Azula gave Goku some money, point to a stall, and asked him to buy one and wear it. While Goku was buying the clothes, Azula put a tower in the sand. Ty Lee was helped by some random guys that pop up, and Mai and Zuko put an umbrella and sit together under it. After Goku arrived, he went with Azula and asked why everybody is in different places, but Azula did not answer. Then when she turned to see Goku, she realized that he was still using the shirt, the wristbands, and the boots. She just sighs a little and then asked Goku. Why are you still wearing your training clothing? Well, you told me that I should use it at any moment. Goku. This is a vacation trip. Yeah. It means no training. But. No buts, remove those things and enjoy the day without any train. Goku reluctantly obeyed and removed the boots, wristbands, and t-shirt. And after he removed his shirt, a bunch of girls started to look at him, especially Ty Lee. That made the guys around her jealous, some of them also removed their shirts and started to flex their muscles, but Ty Lee was more interested in Goku's body, it was as if she was hypnotized by it. Then Azula was able to see a group of teens playing volleyball. Goku, do you want to have some fun? Are we going to spar? No. Oh, well, in that case, I can wait for you here. Suit yourself. Hey, beach bums, we're playing next. Ty Lee, get over here, now. After that, the group went for a friendly match with some local teens in a volleyball game. Goku was standing on one side of the playing field. The group of Azula make a little meeting, and then the game started. It was a one-sided game as the great athleticism of the four showed up. That made that many spectators turn and get a little excited, but for Goku, that was a little boring, and he was just yawning because of it. The result was an all-around victory, but the last serve that Azula sent back made a little destruction in the playing field and left Goku with a lot of sand over him. Then two guys approached Ty Lee and invited her to a party, they also extended the invitation to Mai and later to Azula. The guys left, Ty Lee was still smiling waving at them, so Azula just touched Ty Lee's shoulder and direct her view to Goku, who was been helped by a bunch of girls with the sand that was over him. Ty Lee got upset and run to Goku. Back in the beach house, the crew was eating normally, all except for Goku, that normal for him is to eat a lot and very fast, then Zuko asked Azula. Why didn't you tell those guys who we were? I guess I was intrigued. I'm so used to people worshipping us. They should. Yes, I know, and I love it. But, for once, I just wanted to see how people would treat us if they didn't know who we were. You're also coming, right? Ty Lee asked Goku, who had a lot of food in his mouth. He slurps everything and then answered. I don't know. Parties are not my strength. Besides fighting. What's your strength? There will be food. Okay, I'll go. At the place of the party, there wasn't anybody except for the host and one of his friends. But after a little while, more teens started to arrive. Goku went to the table where the food was. Azula was standing alone. Zuko and Mai were sitting next to each other on a couch. Unfortunately for Ty Lee, she was surrounded by guys. All of them were asking her to choose one of them, then when she tries to search for the help of one of her friends, she was able to see that Goku was again surrendered by some girls who recognized him from the beach, so she hit the guys around him and go directly to Goku. Goku was a little relieved that Ty Lee appeared as the girls did not let him eat, but then Ty Lee took him out of the food table and took him with Azula, which made Goku a little sad as he could not eat at his heart content. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Those locals won't leave us alone. I guess they all just like us too much. They like you because you make it so easy for them. You're not a challenge. You're a tease. It's not like they actually care who you are. Ty Lee heard what Azula said and it hurt her and she started to sob a little. She faked the tears, but she was hurt. But Goku did not care about it. Okay, calm down. I didn't mean what I said. Look, maybe I just said it because I was a little jealous. What? You're jealous of me? But you're the most beautiful, smartest, perfect girl in the world. Well, you're right about all those things. But for some reason, when I meet boys, they act as if I'm going to do something horrible to them. But you probably would do something horrible to them. I'm sure they're just intimidated by you. Okay, look, if you want a boy to like you, just look at him and smile a lot and laugh at everything he says, even if it's not funny. Well, that sounds really shallow and stupid, let's try it. But why would you do that? Goku asked, confused again about the subject, but Azula still went and started to talk with one of the hosts of the party. After that Goku was able to see that Zuko was leaving the place and because he could not take the food he wanted and his sister was outside with another person, he thought that it was a good opportunity to talk with his older brother. So he followed him after a while as he still needed to escape from Ty Lee. Goku found Zuko outside of one big house. It was the house they used to use as a vacation house when they were very small. Later Azula also arrived. Zuko was holding a little stone handprint. He looked depressed. Those summers we spent here seem so long ago. So much has changed. When we were kids, we used to play together here. And when I gaze at the moon, I always have this nostalgic feeling. Come down to the beach with me. Come on. This place is depressing. Later on, the five of them were on the shore of the beach. Mai was still upset with Zuko. Ty Lee approached Goku right away. Then Zuko tried to hug Mai, but she did not let him. He asked if she was cold, but Ty Lee was the one who answered that while she was watching Goku. Then Zuko stand up and left for a while, and in his return, he brought some painting of his family and throw it into the fire. Ty Lee questioned Zuko for throwing pictures of their family, and he bent his anger at her, calling her circus freak. Goku did not like that as he felt the malice in his world, but he limited himself and just said, "Hey." Ty Lee felt hurt from the way she was portrayed by Zuko. She also showed her feelings by telling them that she suffered from identity issues due to being part of 6 sisters who looked the same. Mai also started to take part in the conversation, telling Ty Lee that for that reason she needed the attention of the 10 boyfriends, but that she fails to can have the attention of the only person she really cares about. Ty Lee answered her telling her that her aura was dark and dirty. Zuko reproached Mai for not being angry after she was told that. Mai only answered that she has nothing to share, her childhood was normal, she had everything she wanted as far as she acted properly and bring a good image to their family as her father was a politician and they could not have any bad records in their family. Then Azula just resumed everything about Mai and told her that she had a controlling mother with high expectations for her and failure was not an option. Mai got angrier and shout, "Leave me alone." Zuko tried to get closer, but she was still mad at him. Then Zuko started to shout. He got angrier when Ty Lee tried to stop everything with a comment that the bad energy will be bad for the skin. Zuko was angered about the comment as the care of his skin was not a problem, he said that while pointing out his scar. Then he started to talk about his frustration. He did not know why would he be angry with, he was able to make the accomplishment he needed. His father already recognizes him, his sit on the throne and his honor were restored, but he was still mad with himself. After he bent his anger away, Mai approached him and hugged him. Then Azula started to clap cynically. "Well, those were wonderful performances, everyone. I guess you wouldn't understand. Would you, Azula? Because you're just so perfect." "Well, yes, I guess you're right. I don't have sob stories like all of you. I could sit here and complain how our mom liked Zuko more than me, but I don't really care. My own mother thought I was a monster. And you, Goku? Are you going to tell me that everything is always perfect?" "Well, I do not care about anything like that. If it happens, it happens. If I can fix it, there's nothing to worry about and you just fix it. If it can't be fixed, why worry about it?" Everyone sighed at the comment of Goku, calm and nonchalant as always, is what everybody thought. Then Azula told them that they can do something else to make the trip memorable. So, they went back to the house where the party was. When the door opened, Azula just told the guy, "We have bad news for you." Then Zuko complimented her sentence saying, "The party is over." Then everyone entered and started to make chaos inside the house. Zuko was breaking tables and furniture, Mai ripping paints, Ty Lee takes out all the ceiling chandeliers, and then when every guest left the house, they did it too. Outside was Goku, then Ty Lee got closer with the guys that were trying to hit on her and told them, "If you want to go out with me, you need to be stronger than him." Then Azula said to Goku, "Goku. Do the thing." Then Goku raised his arm, he just shouted a little "ha" and a big blue beam came from the palm of his hand, it went directly to the house and destroyed it. All the guests were with their mouths open and then one said, "Did she say Goku? The Prince Goku?" The gang left the place smiling. After the vacation trip to Ember Island, it has passed a few weeks. At first, everything went to normal and Goku was happy about it, his sister was very calm and having more free time and his older brother was spending his days alongside his girlfriend. Goku still went to train, but due to the problem with the last reunion, he needed to study warfare tactics with the books he received from General Tumen. At the same time, his siblings were assisting the reunions on his behalf, but Azula made sure that Zuko didn't know that he was invited only because Goku didn't want to be there. Everything seemed normal again, but Goku saw that his brother was acting somewhat suspicious, so he became concerned, and every time he tried to have a conversation with Zuko, he dismissed him or did not take him seriously. Then Goku consulted the most reliable person he knew, his sister. "Hey, sis. Do you have a moment? I am not going to spar with you, Goku. Is not that?" Azula was receiving a skin treatment at the moment, but when she heard that her twin brother wanted to talk about something and was not about fighting, she got interested. Azula just waved her hand to the beautician so they could leave the room. "Tell me, what do you want to talk about?" "Well, Zuko has been acting weird lately and I overheard that he is still visiting Uncle Iroh in prison." "Yes, I already heard about it. And, well, I don't know what we should do. I mean as our brother." Azula smiled at Goku and pet his head like if he was a little dog. "You really care about him?" "Well, yeah. But Zuko is passing his dueling phase. He did spend the last years with our uncle, but now he just realized that uncle was a traitor. I only hope that his loyalty is with his family and nation. But that is his decision to make." "I see. Goku was disappointed that Azula was not able to say something more reassuring. He wanted to hear that his brother surely will be on their side, but the answer was open in the air. He just wished for his brother to make the right decision. The days after that were about the preparation of the possible invasion that the Fire Nation could suffer. They knew that Avatar's followers were still out there and that they already had influence, to some extent, with some resistance groups. The plan was to let the guards on the shore so they can delay the attack, and inside the city, the people will evacuate and only soldiers will remain. The few of the soldiers should be there only to maintain the invaders busy until the eclipse pass. They knew that the eclipse will take their bending for a few minutes, the reason why no one has objections to the plan: a soldier should be able to fight with and without fire bending. Although I wanted Goku and Azula to be near him, he decided to use them in different positions. Goku put himself in the city alongside the soldiers that will try to slow down the invaders, knowing the fighting skills he has, even without his fire bending, he was the perfect choice for it. Azula will be in a room close to the palace. In the meantime, Zuko should be in the Fire Lord Hall, waiting for any enemy to be there, so he would be the first distraction after Goku, but before Azula. This plan was made thinking that one of the people in the resistance was the one who invented the machine that helps them to surf the skies, so they may use something like that to attack the city without crossing with Goku. The day before the eclipse, Goku was in the Turtle Duck's pond. He was training by himself with some meditation, which was interrupted by Ty Lee. Behind her was Azula and Mai. You really take your training seriously? Training? He was just taking a nap. He was training his energy. I could feel it even outside the building. The colors of his energy are beautiful. Preparing for the fight. Well, I want to capture them alive. Oh. Setting difficulties. I like that. Don't worry, we will be there to help you. No, you won't. You need to be safe in the evacuation camp. Goku said that, answering Ty Lee, who started to blush when she saw that Goku was with a straight face and showing that he cares for her. Now you sound like Zuko. They are the ones attacking, and they will do everything in order to have what they want. Remember Amashu? They even kidnap your baby brother, that's how low they can go. After that, Mai could not answer back. Who would tough that the decisive fight will take place in our land? I don't know. But this is a battle we must win, no, a battle we will win. At that very moment, Goku looked like the most reliable man they have ever seen. Mai smirks a little, while Ty Lee was with a big smile on her face. She was mumbling a light tone for her happiness, as she was still enchanted by Goku's words. You need to be safe. Azula was smiling with confidence. Goku was seriously thinking about his friends, and he wanted to protect them. He asked to be in the front line for that very reason, wanted to stop the attack himself so his siblings, friends, and his father won't be in danger. The day of the attack arrived and everyone was in his position. Goku was waiting in the center of the city, while other soldiers were hiding in between the streets. Before they went to their positions, Goku asks them to redirect the invaders to his position when the eclipse is happening. Because many soldiers already saw him train against multiple elite soldiers and always come out with a victory, they knew that Goku could take care of anyone even without firebending. Goku was sitting in a lotus position and was concentrating on the fight. He was able to feel that one person with an energy similar to the Avatar was going to the Fire Lord Hall, but then he realized that Zuko was not there. Goku was disappointed that his brother decided to leave, as he could find his energy next to his father, and apparently, he wanted to fight him. He was not afraid that Zuko could kill his father or the other way around. Goku believed that his father is an honorable man, he demonstrated in the Anikai they previously had, and he will show the same mercy again for sure. Then he felt that the Avatar went back to the place where the fight was happening. Then it seems that they are moving again, now to a place close to the bunker they had. Goku wanted to go, but he felt that the enemy army was arriving in the city and the eclipse was going to happen soon, so he stayed in the city and hoped for the victory of his sister. The eclipse started and some earthbenders were there. Goku dashed to the place and with one kick defeated the group of four as they were in a line, which made it easy for him to take care of them. Other earthbenders appeared behind them and created a wall that started to move towards Goku, but Goku destroyed with only one punch. He charges against them, Goku kicked them with a spin kick, which broke a small wall of rock that appeared when the earthbender tried to defend himself without any fortune. Then without wasting time he appeared in front of the other earthbender, and with a series of punches in the stomach the enemy was out of conscious. Then some machines appeared and were similar to the machines he was when traveling with Azula, so he went to it and tried to stop it with his own hands. After a small distance where Goku was sent back by the machine, Goku could stand his ground, lift the machine and send him to fly against another one. But then Goku realized the number of machines that were invading. He was confident to stop the soldiers, but the machines will take more time, and there were many of them. If only I could firebend, he said to himself with impotence. He lifted his hand and with some anger tried to firebend. He was pointing to the machines that were in front, and to his surprise, a beam was fired from his hand as usual, but with even more power. Goku smiled, he did not know what was happening, but he could firebend in the eclipse, so he started to fight with more confidence, using close combat with soldiers and firebending to the machines. With a view of what was happening, many soldiers regained confidence in themselves too. Just a small number of soldiers were armed with swords, but those who did not went and took anything in their possibilities as a weapon. Some took some maces that were in the house of some people, others took the knife of the kitchens, others took the sticks they found in the streets. In the top of the mountain, close to the sides of the city, a couple was standing, an old soldier wearing a war suit from the Southern Water Tribe and using the head of a wolf as a helmet. At his side was a girl that was helping him to walk. She was young with brown skin, she was wearing a blue dress. Both of them were scared to see that there was one firebender taking care of most of the army they assembled. Not only that, he was using his firebending in the eclipse. Then they realized that he stopped and was staring at them. The only thing they could think is to order the retreat and to hope that the others who went after the Fire Lord were successful. Goku was able to see that another soldier was able to firebend, and Goku screamed to the soldiers to capture alive every person they saw. The soldiers screamed back to Goku with joy as they knew what was going to happen next. Then from the sky, the flying bison of the Avatar passed. Goku realized that the person did not have a similar energy to the Avatar because the person was the Avatar. He thought that his sister saw the Avatar dying by Zuko's hand, but maybe he could have survived due to his Avatar powers. But that moment was not the one to think about it. Then suddenly, from behind the palace, some war balloons appeared with the Fire Nation symbol, which means that it was their turn to be in the offensive. Goku saw that the Avatar was flying to attack the balloons and he wanted to go to help, but he needed to help to capture the invaders and stop them. After Goku helped to capture the invaders in the city, he went to the same location where the couple of the girl and the old soldier were. It seems that the Avatar already gave up the fight against the war balloons and he was able to see the war balloons destroying the machines the invaders used to arrive. With that, victory was assured. Although he saw the Avatar leaving in his flying bison, he knows that his sister could take care of them if she wanted. The good thing here is that the worst has passed and that they have won and he could protect the city, especially his family and friends. Then he realizes that all the soldiers were waiting for something as they were watching at him. Then a soldier appeared next to him and told him that they are waiting for the prince to declare the victory. Me? That's something that the most distinguished person in the battle normally does. But please, Prince Goku. I guess I have to. Goku resigned himself as he could not escape from this ceremony he did not know about. Maybe if I had put attention in classes, I may have remembered about this, he thought. So, without knowing what exactly needed to do, he raised his hand and screamed. Gah. Then all the soldiers also screamed the same alongside him, while the soldier next to him said. Prince Goku took care of the invaders with his own hands. After that, all the soldiers screamed even louder. The next day after the battle, Goku and Azula were again in front of their father. The generals were also there as spectators. Although Azula did not take part in the capture of the invaders, it was well known that she was the one who took care of those who tried to attack Fire Lord Ozai directly. Ozai was with a stern face. Prince Goku, you excelled on the battlefield yesterday. Your leadership was able to command the soldiers and give them the motivation needed to continue, even when no one was able to firebend, reaffirmed your expertise in the battlefield and guerrilla tactics. Azula, although I know that you accomplish your duty fighting those who infiltrated, we were able to receive information that your first report about the death of the Avatar was wrong. Can you explain yourself? Of course, father. As I detailed in the written report I made about the whole situation back in Ba Sing Se. The plan was for the Dai Li to distract the followers of the Avatar, while Zuko and I attacked the Avatar. The moment that we could fight him together was when Iroh appeared and stopped me. After that, the Dai Li warriors and I took care of him, while Zuko fought the Avatar. When we were able to get there, he told us that he killed the Avatar right there, incinerating him completely. Which made it impossible to find a body. I see. So, your brother's treason was calculated since that moment to create an element of surprise. After hearing about the treason of Zuko, Goku changed his face to one with pain. I was able to realize it. I understand that it is difficult to think that our own family is doing this to us. That is why we should remain together. Now go and rest, that later this day we need the population to celebrate this last battle, and they will need to see their hero. Once Azula and Goku left the Fire Lord Hall, they walked to the usual spot, the Turtle Duck Pond. They were walking side by side in silence. They did not know what to talk about. Each of them had different things in their minds. Azula was relieved that her father did not punish her for lying to him. And Goku was still thinking about his brother, about the news that also his uncle escaped jail the same day. Then he remembered about Mai and felt sorry for her as his boyfriend and fiancé is now a traitor. The ceremony for Goku was the same as they did for Azula and Zuko before. The people were in the main square, but now it looked that there are more people than the last time. It seems that not only the common population was there were also some soldiers that were on their resting day. All of them were cheering for Goku, as they were able to personally witness everything he was able to accomplish. Goku was overwhelmed by everything. He just waved at them for a brief moment and then he made a small speech that had been written by Azula. When he went back to the palace, he was received by Ty Lee and Mai who bowed to him. Goku just smiled at them while scratching his head. After a few days later, during one of the meetings about the war, some news arrived. One was about Amashu's current situation, as it was taken over by the Mad King. The other was about the maximum secured prison. Boiling Rock. It seems that Zuko was captured when he tried to search for the war criminals. Goku looked pained by the news. I realized that and wanted to point him to can make a recognition trip there, but Azula asked for a turn to speak. She asked her father to be her the one to make the recognition. She explained that she wanted to use some new techniques to can take information from people. Fire Lord Azai accepted and put her in charge of that mission. He gave her only 48 hours to can make the recognition. If it is Zuko, she should take all the information needed for the Fire Nation. When the meeting was over, Goku got close to Azula. I want to go with you. Not in your state. You are currently still dueling with the treason of his. That is why you need to calm yourself. I can take care of him. You should visit Mai and help her at this moment. I will go with Ty Lee. Azula continued walking and Goku was still standing in the same place. What they did not know is that Mai was already going to the prison where Zuko was. The warden was Mai's uncle. At the prison, when Azula was able to arrive, she was escorted by the warden, who was making an interrogation with a man that presumably was helping a prisoner to escape, but after just one glance, Azula was able to find out that the person was not lying. So, she decided to walk away from the place. She was able to realize that the prisoners were sent to the square of the prison, which made her wonder about the situation, or if the place was really under control. She decided to step aside and see how things evolved, as this could be something her older brother elaborated. Azula and Ty Lee were watching the entire situation. They saw how one of the Kyoshi warriors took the warden prisoner, and then how the water tribe guy and another two men alongside Zuko were running to the gondola. Zuko activated the mechanism and then broke the brake. That is when Azula made her signal to Ty Lee, so they needed to go and capture her brother. Ty Lee jumped over the metal ropes and started to run to the gondola, while Azula took the handcuffs of one of the guardians, then she jumped and flew for a moment, only to use the handcuffs with the ropes to guide her to the gondola, while using fire control to impulse herself. Although Azula already knew how to fly, she did not want to risk falling. Once she was over the gondola, Zuko, the water tribe guy, and the Kyoshi warrior were there. Ty Lee was supposed to take care of the Kyoshi warrior, while Azula would fight her brother and the water tribe guy. It was obvious that, even when Azula was outnumbered and the place where she could fight was small, she was confident that she could win the fight. The bad thing was that if she moved abruptly, Ty Lee may fall to the boiling water under them. Still, she was overconfident that she could defeat them. The bad thing was that when the warden could take out his ties, he ordered to cut the ropes. So, Azula and Ty Lee could not complete their fight and jumped to the gondola that was passing in the other line that was going back to the prison. That was not the ending she was aiming, but it was a win nonetheless. She was kind of happy that the man was putting his life to can have results for her. But in the middle of the travel back to the prison, they realized that the gondola where his brother and the other people was going started to move again and were able to reach the end, while on the other side was Mai. She was the one that helped Zuko to escape. Once Azula left the gondola, she stood in front of Mai. Ty Lee was on one side watching everything very nervously. I never expect this from you, Mai. The thing I don't understand is why. Why would you do it? You know the consequences. I guess you just don't know people as well as you think you do. You miscalculated. I love Zuko more than I fear you. No, you miscalculated. You should have feared me more. After that Azula was going to attack, but she was stopped by Ty Lee that blocked her bending. All were in disbelief of what happened, even Ty Lee herself. But when she recovered and tried to help Mai escape, they were already surrounded by guards and were captured. Other guards helped Azula to stand. Azula was hurt deeply, not by the bend blocking, but by how her only friends betrayed her. She was thinking to only hurt Mai and left her with a small scar on her face, so she could remember to not betray her, but she did think of forgiving her. Even if she did not get the scar, she will eventually forgive her. But after this, she was furious and did not want to see them ever again. She ordered the guards to take them in a place where they can rot. After her body started to work again, she asked for a map and then she located the place where some old airbenders' city used to be. So she ordered some war balloons to go there with her. It may be too obvious, but judging that they attacked rather quickly after their failed invasion, it means that they could not be that far, and the air temples were the perfect fit for the current situation. It didn't take long for her to arrive, and it seems that she was right. There he was, in plain sight, the flying bison, the avatar, and his followers. So, she ordered them to launch some explosives. She, unlike her twin brother, does not have any problem using machines to do the job. It seems that the air temples had a mechanism of defense which protected them from the bombs for a while. Then Zuko appeared in front of Azula. "What do you think you are doing? Isn't it obvious? I try to kill a traitor." After that, Zuko and Azula exchanged some firebending attacks, but Zuko fell to the abysm. Azula did not care to check if Zuko survived, as the avatar was passing by, so she tried to take him down, but the flying bison was covered by some rocks that protected. Then Zuko appeared again and they started to fight, but Azula was still overconfident and did not try to attack Zuko. She just received a fire blast directly, but none of them were doing damage as they disappear with a small puff from her lips that create a small fire that protected her when the fire was close. Once she saw that his brother was running to her, she did the same and charged a little foreball with her hand. The clash made Zuko fall again, while Azula was able to fly back to the balloon. The only one who realized that she could fly was the avatar, who, incredulous by what he saw, tried to lie to himself thinking that it was only his imagination, that she was only able to jump back into the balloon. Azula did not try to follow them now, as the flying bison was still faster than any of the war balloons, and also the time her father gave her was up. When Azula returned, she went straight away to make her report to her father. But before she could say anything, her father spoke first. "Azula, I already got the information about what happened. Unfortunately, your friends end up being traitors too. But I am glad that you stood your ground there. It was wise to let your twin brother hear, knowing that he has some kind of connection with your friend Ty Lee." "Thank you, father. But I still failed you." "Well, that is nothing to worry about. The Sazin comet will arrive soon and the plans we have already will take place soon. You can go now." Outside the Fire Lord Hall was Goku. Azula just saw him and started to walk away, but Goku walked behind her. Then when they were in the garden, Azula turned around to him very angered. "What do you want?" "Sis, sorry for what happened there in that prison. You know that I'll always be by your side." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I know it." Azula was standing there with a face with total anger and with some tears coming from her eyes. The information of what happened in Boiling Rock arrived first before Azula was able to come back, all thanks to the messenger hawk they received. That made Ozai rethink his original plan. He always thought that Azula will be his successor, but the series of failures she showed are now something to worry about, but surprisingly, the kid he took as a third backup plan is doing things very well. Although at this point, he cannot marry his daughter to him, as all the people think of them as twins, he can still keep the lie and make him the right heir for the throne. No one would object to the decision after all the progress we've made thanks to him. The capture of the Kyoshi warriors, the invasion of Ba Sing Se, and the defense of the city under the eclipse. For Ozai, it was a shame that the Azula's friends betrayed her, as their families were high enough, he would have allowed if Goku had chosen to keep one or even the two of them for him. So, before Azula was able to come back, Fire Lord Ozai summoned Goku alone. "Son, please take a seat. Now, with the current situation of the war, our victory is secured, there are only a few resistances in Ba Sing Se, which is a minor problem that I will take care of. But after that, I am planning to change the politics of the world so it can become a better place." Goku looked at his father. He knew that his father only desires the best for the world. The way he is doing it was something that he did not have control of, as the war started even before his father was born, but his father will finally end it. Goku was still with so much hope about what his father was going to say. "In order to gain real balance. I will not declare the Fire Nation as the ruler, but myself. That way all the nations will coexist, but they will be as only one. There won't be any political barriers. A firebender will be born in any nation, and that will apply to any person loyal to us. They will be able to be in any place they want, they will experience freedom. Benders and no benders will be the same, because all of them will be my subjects, and I will protect them from any harm. Still, the nations as we know will be working, as the day-by-day problems will need to be taken care of. That is why I want you to become the next Fire Lord." Goku was in shock about that. Although he believed his father could bring balance, the idea of himself as the Fire Lord was something he never thought about. And right now, Azula was not with him to help him to get out of this situation, and even worse, that is Azula's dream, and he does not want to take her dream away. "Dad, I mean, Fire Lord Ozai. I do think that you can do it, but I do not desire for the throne. I want to help you and the Fire Nation on the battlefield. The crown should be with someone more capable like my sister." Ozai looked at Goku somehow upset for what he said. But after all this time he knew that his loyalty was always with Azula. It was a good thing to know that he never betrayed her as the others are doing now. But in this decisive moment where he can seize power, Goku was still loyal to her and most importantly, to him. Is that your final answer? You will never have another opportunity to become the Fire Lord. It is, father. I am sure that Azula will lead the Fire Nation as well as you do. I showed a little smirk on his face. Very well. I will crown your sister as the next Fire Lord. In exchange, promise me that you will protect her from any harm. If she is going to be the Fire Lord, means that she is as important as the Fire Nation itself. Leave it to me. Father. Goku smiled when he heard that his father asks him to protect his twin sister. A week has passed after the secret meeting of Goku and Azai. In the bay, near the ships and the war balloons, Azai was standing. A few seconds later, Azula and Goku arrived from different palanquins. Even though Goku did not like them, he knew that this occasion was a very formal thing and he needed to follow the protocols he was told. Then when they arrived where his father was, Azula told her father that she was ready to go with him and destroy the rebels. But then revealed that there was a change of plans. I've decided to lead the fleet of airships to Ba Sing Sea alone. You will remain here in the Fire Nation. But I thought we were going to do this together. My decision is final. You can't treat me like this. Azula, silence yourself. But it was my idea to burn everything to the ground. I deserve to be by your side. At that moment, Azula felt like also her own father was betraying her. She felt powerless at that moment, but when she looked at her sides, Goku was there and just gave her a smile and put her hand on her shoulder to calm her. Azula, listen to me. I need you here to watch over the homeland. It's a very important job that I can only entrust to you. Really? And for your loyalty, I've decided to declare you the new Fire Lord. Fire Lord Azula. It does seem appropriate, but what about you? Fire Lord Azai is no more. Just as the world will be reborn in fire, I shall be reborn as the supreme ruler of the world. After that, the sages that were standing in the sides went and put a new royal garment. From this moment on, I will be known as the Phoenix King. Then the ceremony started and the new flags were raised next to the flags of the Fire Nation Kingdom. Some drums were played while the Phoenix King Azai walk inside the war balloon. Azula then talk again. Father, let me give you a present. In my representation, I want you to take the Dai Li force. They are more knowledgeable in the area of Ba Sing Sea, I am sure that will be able to help you. Azai smirk and wave his hand to show up that he allowed the decision of his daughter. Goku and Azula were standing there watching his father go. And when the war balloon left Azula to turn to see Goku. You knew about this? Yeah, we want you to give you the surprise about your crowning. Don't do it again. She was with an upset face when talking to Goku, but once she entered the palanquin and closed the curtains, she made a big smile, she was blushing a little. She was controlling her excitement. Goku already knew that she was happy, even when she was showing that upset face. The next day Azula was dressed by some servant girls. Her face was calm but serious. For a moment, she thought that she should have gone to prison with her twin brother. Maybe Ty Lee wouldn't betray her if Goku was there. But then the small idea that Goku might have also betrayed her came to her mind, and she went angered. The servant girls did not know what was happening, they did not know if they may have done something wrong, so they called for her. Azula woke up from her thoughts and saw the face of the servants that looked worried. She looked at the mirror to see her dress, it was a light red dress, which was refined and looked perfect for elegant parties, but comfortable enough to fight with it. She drew a small smile and then thanked the servants. The servants were already accustomed to the harsh attitude of the princess, but they still wanted to follow her. She has accomplished so many things at a young age, she had to go against many betrayals of her most dear people for her, and she is still doing the best for her country. Even when she was harsh, their families are living a good life thanks to her and her family, for that they will always follow her, but, with this new attitude, they just reaffirm their loyalty. Azula asked them to put her in the armor she always uses. To do that, 6 girls needed to lift the armor, as it was too heavy for them to lift alone, the armor only covered her shoulders, pectoral, and part of the abdomen. It was in a V form. It won't be that different from the normal armor, but this was modified with the specification that Azula asked, so it will weigh 200 pounds 90 kilos. It was incredible that Azula wore that armor almost every day and could walk and train with it like nothing. After that Azula thanked them again and left the room. The servants were sad that they couldn't be in the coronation process. On her way out, Li and Lo appeared before her. "Good day, Fire Lord Azula," said both of them at the same time. Azula answered and greeted them, then she continued walking. After that, the old women said. "We hear you asked the Imperial soldiers to leave. Why did you take that decision?" Azula surprisingly turned to them, but she was not angry and just answered in a calm way. "The Avatar and his followers are out there with Zuko. So, they already know about Father's plan and will think that the Fire Nation will be unprotected. That is why I send them to different points, in case they show up. But if they are fools enough to fly here, Goku and I will take care of them. After that Azula left the place as she continued her walking. The crown ceremony was taking place at the palace's main square. Only the sages and Goku were there, and from inside the palace, some servants were watching. Azula was on her knees as the sages were making the royal process. Even when it was absurd that the coronation process is carried out with only one person other than the sages and who will be crowned. Due to the current situation, it could not be helped. But for the people involved, it did not matter. The servants that were watching from the windows of the palace were moved to tears when the sage finally put the crown in Azula's head. Well, hair, it is more like a hair ornament. Then suddenly from the skies, a roar was heard. The flying bison was landing, and over it was Zuko and the water tribe girl from Amashu. Goku, for a moment, was happy as he thought that his brother was back and would join them again. But he was mistaken. Today, you won't become the Fire Lord. I am. You know, you arrived a little late for the ceremony. You were going down. Zuko? Just what are you doing? Azula stopped Goku with her hand and then turned where Zuko was. You want to be Fire Lord? Fine. Let's settle this. Just you and me, Zuzu. And I Kai. Goku, go closer to Azula. You know that that's what he wants. And you know that he is no match for me. But don't worry, I am making this so he can open his eye. And suddenly, a fireball was sent where Goku and Azula were. Azula moved away quickly, but Goku stopped with his hands as if it had passed. The sages may have been injured, that is why Goku asked them to enter the palace. Azula ran to the garden, and she was followed by Zuko. The waterbender girl was going behind, but Goku blasted his firebending in front of her so she could stop. He did not want to injure her, just to halt her. Goku said to her. An Ikai is an honorable fight between two warriors, do not interfere. The girl got angry and attacked him with water that looked like an octopus. Goku just dodged all the attacks by moving to his sides. Then when she was standing over the water ducks, she produced a great amount of water and turned it into piercing eyes, and were sent against him. Goku destroyed each one of them with his own fist. He got closer to her pretty fast and just grabbed her arm and threw her against a wall. She lost her breath and could not stand up immediately. Meanwhile, Azula was fighting Zuko, but this time Azula was calmer. She did not rush herself against Zuko, and instead used the same tactic she used against Goku and went with close combat. That made Zuko confused as his sister was known to always overpower people with firebending, but now with the Comet Sazan, when she may have more power, she chose to have a close combat fight. And to make things worse for him, even when Zuko's firebending is even more potent than ever before, it's unable to hurt Azula. Zuko was getting more desperate, and when he saw that his companion was sent against a wall, it made him go more aggressively. He went very close to where Azula was and blasted his fire, but Azula moved away and the fire was going directly to the pond where the turtle ducks were. Before Zuko's blast could reach the pond, a blue fire blast went against his bast and saved the animals in the pond. It was the blast of Azula that she sent while in the air. Then she said. I won't let you destroy it. Azula was in the attack and Zuko tough. Not even Ty Lee was that agile, Toph was not that strong, the Avatar was not that fast either. Zuko was overwhelmed by the big difference, and the worst is that she was doing it without the help of the comet as she did not use any firebending technique. Azula punched Zuko in the stomach and he got lifted from the ground due to the strength, and then she spin kicked him and sent him to fly against the same wall where the waterbender girl was. Azula started to walk towards Zuko while he was still panting after the crash with the wall. The fight was over, Goku was just standing as he did not want this to happen. Suddenly Azula stopped. The waterbender girl looked at the face of Azula and Goku. Both of them looked scared, but they were looking at the sky. They turned to look at each other and Azula started to cry. No. This can't be true. Father cannot. Azula took the crown from her head and then stood in front of Zuko. You wanted power so badly. You wanted to be the Fire Lord so bad that you were willing to sacrifice the lives of our men. Betraying not only your nation but also your family. You wanted our father to die. For what? For this. Azula threw the crown at Zuko, which gave him a small scratch close to the cheek. You can have it. Then Goku and Azula started to fly away. Zuko and the waterbender girl were in shock and confused when they saw both of them flying away. Without knowing what may happen next, the waterbender girl started to heal Zuko's injuries with her water technique. Zuko just said. Thanks, Katara. Goku was able to fly faster than Azula and she was having difficulties already. They could pass most of the ocean already as they were flying with all their might. Goku, knowing that this can be dangerous to Azula, said. Go and find a place where we can take father. I'll bring him there. No, I am going with you. I am not asking you. Go and find a place where we can take father. That was the first time Goku imposed himself over his sister. Azula understood that she was getting weaker from the amount of energy she was expending while flying, so she obeyed. She cursed herself for not training the flying technique as Goku did. She has been comfortable using it only for short distances, especially for battle tactics, but not for traveling long distances. The Sazin comet already left. The sky was black as the night was able to conquer the time. Ozai was on the floor, defeated but alive. The Avatar was in front of him. 3 of Avatar's friends were there. The girl that escaped from the boiling rock prison, a water tribe guy with a broken leg, and the last one was Toph, the blind girl that was rescued by Goku back in Ba Sin Sea. Behind them was a war balloon from the Fire Nation that was stolen from one of them. It seemed that they were waiting for someone, but they were too relaxed. Then their expressions, everyone, except for the blind earthbender, changed. They saw a guy in a crimson fight suit that looked like G. He was floating in the sky. His hair was a mess, but his face was very serious and looked like he wanted to fight, but he didn't. The Avatar and his friends changed to a fighting position, and the blind girl was confused as she did not know what was happening. Then the mysterious guy talked. "I came for my father, not to fight you, Avatar. But if you want to do it, search for me. I'll be ready for you." The guy landed and took Ozai in his arms and then flew again and left the place. The Avatar and the others were frozen and did not know what to do. The Avatar was too tired to fight again, and the others were even worse. Toph was confused. She thought she recognized the voice, but she only felt its touch on the ground for a brief moment and then it was gone, making it difficult for her to realize who that was. Although she thought who it could have been, she didn't want to believe it. What was that? I don't know, but we have to stop him. How? He is too fast for me, and Appa is not with us. We can use the war balloon. By the time we start the balloon, he will be too far away. Although the Avatar won, it felt like there was a bitter flavor due to the appearance of that guy. Meanwhile, Goku was flying with his father in his shoulder. He felt Azula's energy and went to her. She was next to a cave that was an abandoned air nomad temple, which was at the north of Ba Sin Sea. Goku went there and put his father in an old bed that was inside. The next day, Ozai woke up and started to walk outside the cave. Azula went to help him and took him outside. They could see Goku coming back with his hunt, and as soon Goku saw his father, he made a big smile. Even though it was happy for them that he woke up, nobody made any conversation as they did not know what to say at the moment. Later that day while eating dinner, Azula said, "Once you recover your energy, father, we will strike again. Nobody will be able to defeat any of us. Not even the Avatar." "It's over, Azula." Ozai looked serious but calm. "But this will be my fight, my own war. There is no need for you two to be involved in it anymore." Goku and Azula were confused about this. "Azula? You are the daughter anyone would ask, a true leader, untamed, strong, and fearless, just like fire, unlike your brother Zuko who is bland and voluble. Goku, you are strong, and your determination only can be compared to the lava of a volcano. I only wish you were my true son." Azula and Goku were in shock by the last part. Why would he say that he wishes that he was his true son? Azula thought for a moment about the letter from her mom that she found a year ago. But it was about Zuko. Right. Thought Azula. I found you alone in the wilds and took you into my family. You become a real son, a better son than the one who really has my blood. Please take care of Azula. After that, Ozai went inside the cave and went to sleep again. Goku and Azula stayed outside confused about what they just hear. The next day Azula woke up and Goku was just standing outside looking at the sky, then she started to run to his father's room, but there was nobody. She went back to Goku, and he simply shook his head. Azula knew what was happening as she also knew how to feel energy like Goku. Their father's energy was no more. A few months have passed since the war was over. The news over the process of the restoration movement is spreading. Azula and Goku try to live their lives alone. Although Azula does have some wishes for vengeance. All she wanted to do was to find his father. Even if it was only his corpse. One of the searches took them way too close to a fire colony. Azula decided to stay behind while Goku would go and find something to eat. As Goku made his way to the nearby village, he could feel the presence of the Avatar and his followers, alongside others. There was one person that he could recognize. And it seems that person also recognized him. That person separated from the group while no one was paying attention and went to him. "Long time no see you, fatty." "Hey Toph. What are you doing here?" "Lost mostly. I need to find something to eat for my sister." "Still traveling with her?" "Yeah. And what about you?" "Well, I was with some friends, but I got bored. Want some company?" "Sure." While both were walking to the village, Goku and Toph were thinking the same. They realized that both of them were in that moment when Goku took his father from the hands of the Avatar, but they were on different sides. Toph was not sure that was him, as in that time he was there was way too fast, so she could not recognize him completely, but the voice was way too similar. Goku was sure she was there, but thought she might have been tricked by the avatar, just like his brother. So, what's new? Nothing, just boresome. Since the war is over, I haven't found anything exciting. I miss fighting. I know, right? I did not like the war, but the fight was always welcome, especially if they're strong. Speaking of which, you owe me a fight. You're right. What if we do it after I give the food back to my sister? Sure. Wanna come with me? Toph thought for a moment about her friends, but all of them were too focused on political affairs. She could not help them with it, and she did not care about that either, so she decided to follow Goku. After Goku bought the things her sister asked him, they went outside the village, into a forest. Deep in the forest was a small cabin, outside it was a campfire that was already off. It seems that the cabin was made recently, but it was made strong enough. Or at least that was Toph's judgment. Goku went inside the cabin, but his sister did not want to go out. Toph was able to feel that there was somebody there in one of the beds inside the cabin, but could not recognize anyone as the person was not touching the ground. After a while, Goku went outside. Is she not coming out? Well, we have passed for some rough situations, and she does not feel that good. Oh, sorry. Don't worry. Shall we start? Bring it on. Fatty. Toph got into a fighting stance and concentrated so she could feel even the tiniest movement of Goku, which worked, but it made her more surprised. Despite his weight, he was fast, way too fast. Toph decided to create various walls in front of Goku. While Goku will try to break them, she will move to one side. But Goku could run through them, and when Toph moved to one side, he tried to kick her. Because Goku was running and Toph moved at the last moment, Goku used his hands on the floor to stop his inertia and use it to make a more lethal kick. Fortunately, Toph was able to feel that, so she moved the earth where Goku was supporting himself. While Goku was trying to recover his stability, Toph launched some earth attacks on him. Then she lifted rock cylinders with some kind of arms close to where Goku was. The cylinders started to spin and tried to punch Goku in the ribs. Goku was able to use one of them to gain more distance, and after some backflips, Goku was in a fighting stance again. Toph got excited. She hasn't felt like this from a fight since she was fighting in the Earth Rumble for the first time. The Earth Rumble become boring later on, as no one could defeat her. But now she is fighting with this guy who seems to be a non-bender, and he is still very good, then remembered his non-bender friend Sokka. She tough. I should apologize for making fun of him for being a non-bender, now I will make fun of him solely in the fact that he is weak. While Toph was trying to cover herself in rock, she started to launch a bunch of rocks in the shape of discs. Meanwhile, Goku went after her and was punching and kicking the discs. Then when they were closer, they started to fight in close combat. Toph had to think very fast. Every time Goku landed a punch, part of the rock armor she just made was falling. So she used her earthbending to unbalance Goku while punching him as fast and as strong as she could. When she realized that almost all her rock armor was destroyed, she made a platform, that way she could be on higher ground, which would give her more time. But that time was short as she realized that Goku was going over the platform. He was just running, but with the inertia and the power of his feet, he was able to get to the top rather quickly. Toph already had another armor of rock, but now she had a new idea. She was going to spin the platform to disorient Goku. The advantage of being blind is that this kind of thing does not affect her. The plan is to keep spinning the platform while dodging Goku attacks, so she will need to change the places where he is seeing, and eventually, he will be dizzy and lower his defense with enough time for her to give him the last punch. For Goku, this situation, rather than made him dizzy, was uncomfortable as he could not put a firm step as the platform was still moving and change every time. He was too close to her. Toph was way too close to being punched, so she decided to change her tactics and went inside the platform. She sent some rock mannequins that were similar to her when she wears the rock armor, and with a lot of concentration, she was moving the platform and controlling the mannequins, so they will be the ones attacking Goku. The tactic seemed that was effective as he received some punches and kicks directly. Goku was confused as many figures like Toph showed up, and now he was really getting dizzy. So he decided to just close his eyes and try to read the energy and fight that way, then he was able to find where Toph was. Goku punched the platform and it broke completely. While falling, Goku realized that big rock was going to fall over Toph, who just landed back first and probably won't be able to react to can bend it. Goku went and destroyed it before it was too late. Then Goku gave her his hand to help her to stand. Toph did take it. That was amazing. You were also tremendous. Could you stop being so loud? Toph did not realize that another person was there. When she recovered her attention to her surroundings, she realized that the one talking was Princess Azula. Is dinner ready? As you can see. Do you want to accompany us? Goku asked Toph. Toph was still in shock and in a defensive position. She could feel that Azula did not have any desire to fight, but she already proved to her that she could lie to her without any problem back in the invasion. Suddenly, Goku took Toph from her wrist and sit her next to the fire camp. He sat in front of her and gave her just a small bowl, then he helped himself from the pot over the fire. Goku started to eat as he normally does. Azula was eating in a more normal way, but Toph did not serve herself any food. When Goku realized, he said, "Sorry, should I have also served you food?" Toph decided to let the things happen for the moment and answered Goku. "No, I can do it myself." After dinner was over, Toph said to Goku that she needed to go back. Azula just entered the cabin and Goku went to walk with Toph for a part of the way back to the village. Toph was confused at the moment. She was told by Zuko's uncle that Goku was a war maniac who only enjoyed violence. That he was the fitting image of what I wanted in soldiers. Zuko told her that his firebending was very powerful, that it could destroy entire buildings with no effort, even without the Sazin Comet. Zuko even showed us the house that Goku destroyed for enjoyment back in Ember Island. Katara mentioned that, back in the invasion, Goku was the one that led the soldiers and destroyed almost all the machinery we had. Aang described him as a person with big menacing energy, although, he also said that it may have been because we had his father. But the guy walking with her does not fit that description. He is innocent and honest, as she can realize with her earthbending. He even went to her rescue when they did not know about each other. And if he wanted to take advantage of her, he would have done it already, but he didn't. But he was really Goku, Zuko's brother. He was with his sister, who was undeniably Azula, although she was kind of different. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Why was Azula that way?" She could not think of another question. "You knew my sister?" "Well, we have fought before." "Oh right. Forgot that you were a follower of that Avatar guy." Ta felt that Goku was somehow upset when he mentioned the Avatar. "Well, our father disappeared. And we think the worst happened to him." "Isn't that?" She was going to say that it was a good thing, but she stopped herself. Goku was an open book for her and she felt his pain. "Sorry. I don't know what to say to you. He was your father after all, but for all of us, he was the bad guy. That is something I don't understand. Why? Why people fought him when he only wanted to do the right thing? Pardon? The final goal that my father had was to bring balance. By taking over the world. No, by making real equality. Non-benders and benders of any kind living alongside without any separation of any kind. Isn't that too good to be true? It is something worth trying." "Well, you may be right in that, but that should be the Avatar's job. And the only thing he does is to separate people." Toph was going to argue with that, but they arrived at a hill where the village could be seen. The village was in some trouble because of the restoration movement, where they are trying to take the Fire Nation citizens out of their homes, as the land was supposed to be for the Earth Kingdom, so no firebenders were allowed anymore. "Maybe you are right about that. But still. The war is over, it's dumb for us to keep talking about it." Toph smiled a little. "Can I spar with you another day?" "Of course. I don't know how much time we will be here. But if we met again, be sure that we will train together." "Thanks." Toph left Goku's side and went back to the village. When Goku got back to the cabin and Azula was already sleeping in her bed. Toph has been visiting Goku every other day after the first training session with him. Normally, she also brought some food. Azula is either inside the cabin resting or outside in her attempt of finding her father. One day when Toph arrived, Azula was next to the campfire. The day was sunny and the earth was dry for that reason. Goku was not there as he went hunting for something to eat. Then Toph felt that out of nowhere Goku arrived. She could not felt from where he came. Goku said hi to her, but she was still confused. "From where you came?" "From there. I did not feel you walking from that place." "Well, that's because I was flying, not walking." Toph was surprised that it was true. She was told by everyone that Goku and Azula could fly, but she did not believe it. The only one that may be able to do that was Aang, the Avatar, as he was an airbender, but there is no way that another person could do that. "Are you an airbender?" "No." "So how could you fly?" "You don't need to be an airbender to fly. Azula can also do it and she is a firebender like me." "What? Do you want to learn it?" "Eh?" She was getting even more confused. So, he could fly and also Azula could do it just like she was told by her friends. But now, she was invited to learn how to fly. "Sorry, but I don't think that's a good idea. I really need to be on the earth." Toph said while pointing her eyes. But then Azula said. "That training will also help you to improve your skills. And you need it if you want to be Goku's sparring partner." Azula was still very calm, but also with some apathy. She has not shown any feeling of anger or happiness since her father's disappearance, and that was something that is starting to concern Goku. Toph, by her side, was a little curious about the training, so she ended up accepting. The next hours they started to train together. At first, Toph was annoyed. The things Goku was telling her were almost the same thing she already does for her earthbending, only for some minor differences. She always aimed to feel her surroundings, but not herself. Then something felt different, something about her energy and energy around her, not only the waves of people touching the ground, but also the energy of living things. And by a few seconds, she could feel the energy of some birds that were flying close by. She got surprised when she felt the energy of the bird. She fell back with a smile saying, "Wow." After that training, she went back to the village. Unfortunately for her, most of the problems were already solved thanks to Avatar helping out in the area. She told their friends that she will go back to visit her house while they went to do their things. Once she arrived at her house, she realized that her mother and father are now separated. His father seems that was close to the village where she was training with Goku. It was something that she did not know. Although they were separate, his father was still sending money back to their home. Toph stayed at the house as she learned that the reason their parents broke up was that her mother did really wanted to see Toph and regretted the way she was raised, while his father was furious that she escaped and wanted to be even more strict. Toph asked her mom to not tell her father that she was with her as she wanted to spend time with her. In her time in the mansion, Toph talked a lot with her mom and also trained. Toph was hooked with the sensation to can also feel other things outside the ground. In one of her training, to can concentrate even better, she decided to use a metal plate so she won't feel the ground. To her surprise, a few minutes later, she was able to also feel through the metal all the surroundings. At first she got upset and she stood up really quickly, bent the metal plate and sent it to fly against a tree, which was close to hitting one of the guards that were in the garden. Then she realized what she just did, she metal bend. Toph said to herself, "Toph, you rule." She could not wait to be able to show that to Goku, but she stopped herself as she needed to perfect this new bending, and she is still not even close to Goku, so she took another week to train. Before she could go back to the village where she found Goku, Aang and Katara arrived and asked her for her help. It seemed that Zuko was trying to find the whereabouts of her mother. He was trying to search inside the royal mansion. He knew that there were some secret passages, but he was unable to find them right now. They thought that she could help with her earthbending. Toph was told before by Zuko that his mother was dead, but it seems that there was information that she may be alive. Zuko wanted to investigate until he finds out the truth, either to confirm that she is alive or dead. This made Toph think about Goku and Azula right away. Maybe they will also want to find their mother. They are already searching for his father, but this can be a good way to reconnect their family, thought Toph before accepting. She asked them to wait as she wanted to go somewhere first, and then asked them to take her to the village they were before, but then she stopped and stood in silence for a moment. She felt that the energy of Goku in another place. "You know, never mind that place. Remember the place where we fought the first time? The forest with a small river passing through?" "Yes, I guess. Take me there." The flight took a couple of hours, which made Aang and Katara somehow upset because they were flying in the opposite direction to the Fire Nation. Toph asked them to go down near the river and asked them to stay with Appa. She said she will have to go alone. "Oh no, young lady. You take us all the way here and you are trying to let us here alone. Yeah, we cannot make Zuko wait so long. Look guys, if you want me to help, you need to wait." After that Toph started to run, which for her seems like normal, but Aang and Katara were surprised by the speed, they could barely see her going out. Toph went as fast she could to the ghost town of Tuzin, which was no longer a ghost town. There were a lot of people living there now, but she cared only about finding Goku. She did find them inside a house made of wood and earth. Some soldiers tried to stop her from entering, but she did go inside before they could even get close enough to stop her. Inside the house were simple furniture, some couches, and a fireplace made of stone. And next to the pod was Goku taking some food from it. After Toph entered she just said, "Hi," and Goku answered back. Behind Toph one of the guards entered, but when they saw that Goku was talking freely with her, so they left. "I thought this town was abandoned." "It was. That's why we came here." "How's that?" "Well, a bunch of people from the Fire Nation found us and wanted to live with us. Azula decided that we should leave the place, and I asked her to come here." "Well, I guess that not all the people want Zuko as Fire Lord," said Toph, putting her hands in the back of her head. "It seems that you have been training." "You bet. I can't wait to train with you." "Well, about that. I came here not to train but to ask you something." "Oh, okay. Your brother seems that is looking for your mother. And I was wondering if you could help us." "We could. With one condition." Azula appeared as she was coming down the stairs. "Ask the Avatar to help us to find our father." "Why do you need Aang?" "Because he is the one that can help us search in the spirit world." Toph wanted to say that his evil father will never be in the spirit world, but she stopped herself. She knew that, unlike Zuko, they cared more about their father. And she has not talked to Zuko about the disappearance of his father. "Okay, I promise. But Goku has to tell me the information. Sure. Toph put that condition because Azula already proved that she can lie blatantly in front of her back in the invasion, and her lie detection technique will not work in her. Then Goku told him about the village of Hirai, about Noriko, who was their real mother, and what the spirit told them, about how their mother decided to forget them to have a life without them. Toph, at that moment, felt a change in Azula, but went to her normal self again. He also told her about a letter their mother sent to her lover, and that Zuko is only their half-brother. He told her where Azula found the letters and how to get to the hidden room. The information that Zuko was not the Fire Lord's son surprised Toph, but then Azula smirked and told Toph to go and tell Zuko the truth that he wasn't Ozai's son. After that Toph went back to Aang and Katara. They were sitting next to the river taking their hands and smiling at each other. Toph stood behind them until Katara, annoyed, turned to her. "Now, are you going to tell us where did you go? I have information about Zuko's mother." "What? Really? From where did you get it?" Katara asked confused. "Great, now we can tell Zuko about it. Before that. Aang, if you want me to tell him, you will need to give me a favor afterward. But if you agree, you must do it." Aang was confused by that and somehow hurt that Toph has to make him promise that he will make a favor to her. He thought that she must know that he will make any favor for his friends, but after her serious face of Toph he said. "You have my word as an avatar." After that, the three of them went to the Fire Nation capital. It took them another 5 days to arrive at the palace of the Fire Lord. When they finally arrived, they were received by two couples, Zuko and Mai, and Sokka and Zuki. Ty Lee was also with them. She was somehow relieved that she was not the only one without a pair anymore. Once they landed, Zuko and Aang hugged, and then Zuko bowed a little to Toph. "Thank you for helping me find my mother. You have my deepest gratitude. Are you sure you want to find out about your mom? The truth can be painful. No matter if it hurt, I want to know about her." Toph looked a little sad about the answer. The rest of the people continue with the greetings. Toph took the leadership and walked directly in one direction inside the mansion. This made the others wonder how did she know where to go, then she entered a room that looked very simple. Inside the room, there was some paper and some incense on an altar. On that altar, there was a rock with the symbol of the Fire Nation. Then Toph turned to Zuko who was just behind her and said. "This is the last chance. Are you sure that you want to know?" This time Zuko felt that there may be something wrong, but he still said. "I am sure." Toph sighed a little and then asked Zuko to firebend to the rock. Zuko was confused, but he obeyed. When the fire hit the rock it started to move, a secret passage was shown there that made everyone to be surprised. They got even more surprised about the things inside that room. Clothes of air, earth and water tribes, some articles from them also, the necklace of the air nomads. The shield of the water tribes, swords made by the earthbenders, spears of the waterbenders, and many valuable furniture like glasses, vases and jars, all of them looked very expensive. Everyone was stunned by what they were seeing. Toph pointed to a chest and said inside there. Zuko was nervous about how sure was Toph about everything, but he still followed her order and opened the chest. Inside the chest were a lot of his mom's belongings. Zuko could not resist, and some tears started to fall from his eyes as he was holding his mom's dress. Mai went and sat at his side and hugged him. Zuko was waiting to get more information about her mom, but he was still happy about this finding, so he turned to Toph and said, "Thank you," with a smile. Toph answered him saying, "Do not thank me yet. You still need to read the letters inside the chest." Zuko got confused, and then Mai took from the bottom of the chest some letters. That was the closer clue they have had in years about his mother's whereabouts, but when he started to inspect the letters, all of them were directed to the town in Hirai, some of them were to her family. All the crew was helping as reading it seemed to make Zuko a little happier. The only one that did not join was Toph. The others were reading the letters aloud. My little Zuko had a fight with his sister, but they seemed to look over themselves. Katara chuckled a little. "Dear parents. Azula and Goku could walk already thanks to Zuko, he is becoming a great older brother. He helped them too can walk as he took their hands." Everybody said, "Ah," in unison, and Zuko blushed. "Here I come, I belong to you, and nothing is worth the pain. My only consolation is our son Zuko." Sokka was reading the letter, and then everybody stopped what they were doing when they heard what Sokka just read. Sokka only realized after he read it again. Zuko was shocked, and Mai only could take his hand. After that discovery, all of the gang went outside the room. Zuko took the letter from Sokka and also left the room. Zuko told them that he needed some time and left them. Mai went with him, and the group stayed behind. Then Katara asked Toph. "You were very sure on where to go, and that he will find something inside that chest. How did you know about it?" "Yes, it was like you already knew. All those questions were to warn him, right? Before starting the search. Say something." Toph remained silent, and then she started to walk away from them and stopped in the main plaza, and she decided to sit there. Sokka and Suki sat next to her and said, "You did the right thing," then they both hugged her. After some time, all were invited for dinner inside the palace. Mai made the commentary that most of the people of the palace were replaced as they left with no warning. She was upset for that to happen. Then Zuko asked the group to go with him to Hira as he still wanted to find his mother. Then Zuko directed the petition to Toph. "Please continue to help me in this," and he bowed to her. Toph felt a lump in the throat as she already knew the truth out of Goku, but the only thing she could do is to nod to Zuko. She knew that the truth will hurt him, but he is her friend and he also needed to know. The next day they traveled to the village of Hira, but this time, Sokka and Suki did not travel with them, it was only Zuko, Mai, Aang, Katara, and Toph. All arrived at the village without any problem. And as if it was destiny, Zuko stomped with a little girl, and behind her was a woman. At the same time, Toph asked Aang to talk to him in private. "Look, I don't think that we should continue this. We already arrived at the village. And our friend does need to know the truth. The truth will hurt him even more. It seems that you already know everything. Let's say that I ask the correct person before coming. Well. Either way, no matter how painful it may be, he still needs to know." Toph did not say anything, but the Avatar realized that she was really concerned about Zuko. "She is dead, right? That would be less painful." Toph answered like if it was whispering. The Avatar was confused as he could not think of something more painful than that. When they went back, Zuko and Mai were talking with a woman. She had a mask of the blue spirit in her hands. She invited the group to her house and offered them some tea. She talked to them about the story about Ursa, about her love story inside the village, and how she reappeared. While Zuko was very interested, Mai was suspicious. In her mind she was thinking. Why is she telling the story of one of the royal family so lightly? And if she knew that Ursa was here, at that moment Ursa was a fugitive, why did she or any of the village people say something about it? I doubt that all the village would keep the secret. And why she is telling that to Zuko is that she does not realize that he is the Fire Lord and she is openly telling him that his mother did have a lover. And even when she did not recognize him, saying things like that to strangers about the royal family would be something that could take her to capital punishment. Well, that was with Ozai. I doubt Zuko would do that, but if any other soldier hears her, she may receive that punishment. Because of all of this chain of thoughts, after the woman stopped saying the tragic love story of Ursa, Mai asked the woman. "Why are you telling us this?" "Well, you seem like a good kid, and you know that she was part of the royal family. Saying this, either is true or not, can give you capital punishment." "Mai. Am I wrong?" The woman got scared for a moment but got comforted when she heard that her boyfriend was scolding her. "You're right. It's just that I have this feeling after seeing you, especially you." The woman was saying that while watching Zuko. "It already happened to me almost a year ago. My husband also scolded me for talking with another two youngsters. Thank you for letting us know about it. It seems we know where to go now." "Wait, what happened with those other two youngsters?" "Well, they entered the forest and then left almost right away." "Thank you." Zuko ended the conversation and the rest of the group also left the place. The cup of tea that was using Zuko was empty when they left. When everybody was going inside the forest, Toph decided to stay behind. Aang volunteered first to stay with her, but she said to Aang that he needs to go with them, so Katara was the one that stayed behind with her. While the rest entered the forest, Katara and Toph went back with Appa. At night Katara could not resist asking Toph what was happening. In her eyes, Toph looked too out of herself. "Katara, do you remember the time you passed with your mom?" "Well, yes. Although every time her face becomes blurrier. I still remember how she pampered us, me and Sokka. How she used to cook us the food. Even when our father was the leader of the tribe, she was the leader of our family. I recently was able to speak with my mother again after all this time. It seems that she has come to terms with my personality. But then I realized that she did not change, she is still the caring mother I remember." Then a big silence happened as each of them started to think about their family. Then Toph started to speak again. "My parents got separated. My mother went against my father and now they are separate. My mother was trying to make my father acknowledge me. Sorry to hear that. Don't be. The moment my mother told me that she recognizes me for who I am, it made me very happy. And that she will even go as far as to fight with my father for me. That made me too happy." "What about your father?" "Well, it's his decision if he wants to be part of our family now. But right now, I am happy." Although Katara knows that Toph cannot see her, she still smiled at her when she saw how happy Toph looked when she was talking about it. But then Toph changed her face to a more serious one and she whispers, "Is there a reason for a mother to decide to forget about her own kids?" Katara could not hear her. They passed the night next to Appa. The next day Toph and Katara went to the village and to find something to eat. Katara started to talk with the woman from yesterday and when they got back, Toph asked about the woman again. "That old woman really likes to talk. Who? Ms. Nariko. Who? Ms. Nariko, the woman that talked about Zuko's mother yesterday. Toph realized that they already talked with Zuko's mother. That somehow upset Toph and went back to Appa to wait for the rest. They did come back at night when Toph was sleeping over Appa, so she did not notice when they arrived. The next day, Toph realized that all of the team was already there, except Zuko, even Mai was waiting for him. Then Zuko arrived with a woman and her husband next to him on the other side, and a little girl who was been held in Zuko's arms. "Let me present you, my mother. Mom, they are my dearest friends." The woman smiled at them. She no longer has the face of Nariko, instead, she has the face of the painting of Ursa. Everybody was smiling at them, except for Toph and Mai. But Mai just sighed and drew a smile to Zuko, and then put her serious face again. She demanded Zuko to put the kid away from him. The kid got scared of Mai and hid her face in Zuko's chest. "Are you going to forgive her just like that? You know everything, right?" "Yes, I know. But she is still my mother, and I love her." Toph was visibly upset, and Zuko got annoyed by it. He was going to say something to her, but Aang intervened. "What if I take you all back to the capital? Let's all hope on Appa." "Stop. You need to fulfill your promise." "What? Right now? Can we do it some other time?" "Look, you give me your word as the Avatar that you will keep your promise." "Well, we can do it once we come back to the capital." "No." Aang was getting upset in the attitude of Toph, but Katara calmed him down. "Does it have to be Aang?" "Yes, only him." "Okay. We can always come back in those ships of the Fire Nation." Katara kissed Aang and whispered to him, "Go with her. It seems that it's something important." Aang was still upset, but he was calmer and nodded to her. Then he turned to Zuko and his family and said his farewells. When the fly bison left, Zuko apologized to his mother for her behavior. "She is a good friend. To be honest, I think that is a natural way to answer for what happened." "No doubt about it," Mai said in a stern tone while standing in front of her. She was Zuko's girlfriend, and even when Zuko forgave her, Mai was still really upset about the situation. She also knew her decision of forgetting about her kids to have a new life with another man. Over the flying bison, Aang asked Toph where are they going, and she answered. "To the same forest of last time." When Aang was calmer, he talked with Toph. "I wanted to ask you. Why were you that upset back then? You are a monk, you won't understand." "What? Look, did you hear what happened, right?" "Yes, she has to go for all those problems because of the Fire Lord." "Wrong. If it was only for the Fire Lord, she could have gone to any Earth village as a refugee, like hundreds of people did. But what she did? She go for another man and decided that that man was more important than the memory of her kids. All people need to find their own happiness. See, I told you that you won't understand. Monks do not have a concept of family. I thought that you were the one that loves freedom. That does not mean that I do not love my family. Or that I would want to forget about them. They were overprotective parents, and even when I was with you having fun or fighting in the war, I never forgot my parents." Aang got silent. He got reflexive. He was not raised in the parenting system of father and mother, as the airbenders were raised all together, and the idea of parents was not really implemented. Aang does not know or remember who his parents were, and that has never been a problem for him, as that was the way the airbenders were raised. After they arrived at the forest, Toph asked Aang to stay there as she will come back later. Aang decided to go to the river close by and meditate there. After an hour, he heard that Toph was back, so he stood up and opened his eyes, only to be surprised as behind Toph was Azula and Goku. Aang changed into a fighting stance and said, "Left Toph to go." Toph attacked Aang and made him fall, then she said to the Avatar. "They are not here to attack you. They are here because you need to help them." "What? Why should I help them?" "Because they are the ones that give me the information of the whereabouts of Zuaversa." "They? Who else would know about it? Besides, you give me your word as an Avatar that you will give me this favor." After Aang was sure that he was not going to be attacked by the Fire Twins, he lowered his defense. He reflected a little and then asked. "What kind of favor do you need?" "We are searching for our father." "Wasn't he with you?" "He disappeared a few months ago." "And how do you expect me to help?" "Take us to the spirit world." "What? Do you know what you are talking about? You know that there is not a way to enter there. It is even difficult for me as an Avatar to go there, let alone taking other people. Besides, thinking that I could take you there, why do you think he would be there? In the North and South Pole are portals to the spirit world. Only the Avatar can open and close the portals. And if after we go there we do not find him, that will be okay." Aang thought for a while. Then Toph said. "You wanted to know about families. Well, you can also see the other part of the same family." Aang stayed silenced for a moment. "Very well, but I hold no responsibility if you got trapped there." Aang accepted and the four went on Appa. While they were on their trip, most of the time there was silence. Aang was hoping that, in the meantime of the travel, he could give a reason to Toph so she could stop this, but he couldn't. In fact, Toph was talking with Goku and Azula like she does with him and the others in the Team Avatar. So, why don't you fly by yourselves? Well, we don't know where exactly is. And I want to talk a little with you. Really? About what? Well, you never told us how was your training. Toph made a big smile. Let's just said that my vision and repertoire have increased. Can't wait to show it to you. Really? Wow. While Goku and Toph were talking, Azula just watched Goku with a big smile. In her head, the words told by her father about Goku were still haunting her, I only wish you were my true son. She could not conceive that Goku was not her twin brother, but still, he felt like family, the only family she has left. She felt comfortable when she was with Goku, something that never happened with his mother, his older brother Zuko, nor with his father. And even when she has that revelation, she could not go against herself. She has never been able to hate Goku, and she is still unable to left his side. Brother or not, he is the only thing she has left, and she will fight with all her might to keep him with her. The Avatar landed at night so they could rest. Unlike the time when Toph and the Avatar spent together with their friends, when they needed to take different responsibilities of the campfire, this time all went smoothly, as no one asked the other for help to set their camp. Azula burned part of the grass, and then remove it and used that place to put the fire, after that she covered part of the grass with a sheet. Toph by her side created a little camp house with her earthbending. Goku did not make any preparation, he just brought some logs and used one for the fire and another as a pillow. Aang was watching everything, he tried to see if they will do something to her friend, but they did not do anything. In fact, it looks like they were giving her the space she always wanted back with his group, so he ended up giving up with that task and slept over Appa. After a day of travel, they arrived at the South Pole. And by their surprise that day was the solstice, so Aang could open the portal to the spirit world. The portal was inside a dead forest, and around it was some dark spirits roaming, but when Aang started to walk to the portal, the spirits moved away. At first, Aang did not know what to do, but when they arrived at the center he saw a sphere of light, then the Avatar knew that has to touch it while in the Avatar state. A great light shouted to the sky, and all were transported to the spirit world. The place was very dark. A tree was almost next to the portal where a red spirit was trapped. Aang looked worried for it, but something inside him told him that the spirit should be there. Then they started to walk, but the one in front was Goku. Aang told them that inside the spirit world they won't be able to use their bending, which was troublesome by Toph, but she resolved her problem by putting her hand on Azula's shoulder. When Aang realized that, he thought that Azula was going to do something mean to her. Azula just saw the hand and then paid no attention to it and started to walk. Azula was still more worried about finding her father, and by the security that Goku was walking, she decided to only follow him without asking anything. Azula foresaw this happening, she knew that the bending won't be working, but they will not need it because Goku could find their father with his sensing technique, which is not linked to any bending, so there won't be any problem. The whole place was full of spirit energy, which should be no problem for Goku. After some time walking, Azula and Toph could also sense the energy of Ozai. Toph let the shoulder of Azula go, so she could go alongside Goku to their father. Aang went and took the shoulder of Toph, while he was watching Azula running to her father, he hugs her with care, then he turned to Goku and opened his arm, welcoming Goku, which made Goku run, and then he cried on his shoulder. Aang, at the moment, after seeing the scene he got a warm feeling. I guess the monks were right. Everybody has good in their hearts. Looking them like that made me realize that. Toph was not able to see or feel with her earthbending, but she knew that Goku and Azula were with their father, then she asked Aang. Although I am happy for them. I got my doubts that he would be here. And why did you ask me to take them here? That was their idea. Oh. Do you know how he was able to come here? Well. It is said that when you hit your lowest point is when you are subject to a greater change. Meanwhile, Aang and Toph were talking. Azula, Goku and Ozai also started to talk. Why are you here? You suddenly disappeared from us. While in my deepest point, I was called by a spirit called Vadu. He offered me great power enough to fulfill my desires. He took me here using a portal near the Northern Air Temple, but when I was in front of him, I realized that the spirit will use me for his own plans. That is why I decide to decline his offer and I end up inside this place. Well, we can take you back to our world. Thanks, but I would prefer to stay here. Well, I do miss you, I do not think there is anything left for me in that world. My time here helped me to find peace and made me realize many things. Both Azula and Goku looked sad for that answer. Azula looked like she was going to suggest staying there with him, but then he said. You two have the potential to make something extraordinary and make a big change in the world. You are the ones that still belong to that world. Azula stopped herself from proposing to stay there, then she turned to his brother and remembered the question she wanted to ask. About what you said of Goku not being my brother. That was a lie, right? No, I did find him in the wilds. He was inside a pod that looked that full from the skies. But the pod disappeared from our warehouse, where it was held by our alchemists and scientists. It seems that some foxes were responsible for it. I have seen the same kind of foxes coming from the library of Wan Shentong. So, he really is not my brother? Does that change any of your memories from him? What? All the things he has done with you and for you. All of them were done by him. Even when he did not share your blood, he was still with you. Unlike another brother who really shares my blood. By the way, you knew that Zuko was not your son. Why did you say that? Azula found a letter from Mom saying that. Well, that was a lie. She proved me with that letter. Unfortunately, I failed. So, he really betrayed his family. Thinking about it will only take your thoughts from the real important things. Azula just chuckled a little at the comment of her father. Well, let's put it like the old time. Azula, Goku, give me your reports of your life. Goku and Azula smiled and started to talk with him. They talked about how they searched for him in the colonies and what is happening there. They also talked about the sparring partner of Goku. I just had a small look at Toph, who was standing next to Aang. They also talked about the new town they founded due to the number of citizens that escaped from the Fire Nation, as they do not want to be ruled by Zuko. After a long talk, Goku and Azula were able to say their farewells to their father. Now they do not have anything left and have a clear mind. Aang and Toph were sitting on the floor. Toph was alone with her legs crossed and bored. Aang was surrounded by a lot of colorful spirits. Azula and Goku got close to them. We can go now, Twinkletos. Okay, wait. How did you call me? She called you Twinkletos, Twinkletos. How why? Come on, we are leaving. After that Azula was in better spirits. She called Aang with a nickname that Toph gave him with a smirk in her mouth. Aang was more surprised by the sudden change, but was okay with it. When they left the spirit world, Aang closed it again. Well, we can go back on our own from here. Thank you for helping us. Don't thank me. It is Toph you should thank. We are going home. Toph, do you want to come with us? Sure. It was a great surprise that the one that invited Toph to go with them was Azula, and Toph answered right away. After everything that has passed, Aang did not oppose the idea. Goku and Azula bow a little with a fist under an open palm as a signal of respect to Aang. Aang answered them with a similar bow. Azula, Goku and Toph started to fly away, which made Aang amazed and confused. I am the airbender, but they are the ones that can fly. Then Appa groaned. Aang just frowned at that and then he said, so am I the weird one? And before he jumped to get over the fly bison, he started to wonder, how am I going to explain all of this to the others? It has passed almost 9 years since Goku and Azula found their father. Many things had changed. Toph moved her metal bending school and her family to the village turned to city, Tuzin. Azula wanted to call the city Ozai City, but it was too small and not as strong as she would want. This way Goku and Toph could train more frequently, and it also gives a way to improve, as some students are lava benders, and they could learn something from the fire benders of the place. Although Aang would want to offer them to annex the city to the United Republic, the proposition was denied by Katara and Zuko right away. Sokka and his part was open to hearing why, and how would that benefit the new country, but with the denial of the other two, the idea was discarded. Sokka, the non-bender guy in the Avatar gang, was responsible for the new country called the United Republic. The country was founded by Aang and Zuko. The county consists of all of the previous colonies of the Fire Nation. Even when Sokka wanted to have a calm peaceful life with a wife and maybe with kids that never come to reality, the task took him a lot of his time and effort. Due to his new job, he had a small time for himself, and that time did not synchronize with his girlfriend Suki, who was a bodyguard for Zuko, the Fire Lord. The time she spent with the Fire Lord was another problem, as Sokka started to grow jealous of Zuko as he spent more time with Suki than him, which ended up the reason for their breakup. Zuko was crowned the new Fire Lord. He was able to get married to Mai and had a baby girl that they called Izumi. He lived in the palace alongside his mother and his stepfather and stepsister. Although his family life with them was exceptional, with a big contrast with Sokka, his life as a Fire Lord was a nightmare. Many citizens did not like him and many revolts started every now and then. The problem started when he decided to give the colonies away and work with the Avatar to give them back to the Earth Kingdom. Then when he started to help him to create a new country, things got worse. Many citizens felt betrayed by him. They felt that he did not respect the fallen soldiers, those who fought in the war for the acquisition of territories and for the Fire Nation. Because of that, many families in the Fire Nation were divided. Many companies decided to leave the Fire Nation as many of their factories were based in the colonies. They were able to extract the raw material from there, so money and jobs were lost when they did that. Food, metal, and many other resources were coming from the colonies and helped the Fire Nation to stay afloat, but with the division, many people started to pass hunger. Zuko also needed to work with the nation's debt, as many of the funds were sent to the military. No wonder there were revolts and conspiracies to overthrow him. Zuko started to feel a little paranoid, as many of the revolts asked for Azula or for Goku to be on the throne. His only place of comfort was his family. Although one thing was hidden from him, and it was the wish of her mother to see Azula and Goku, as she wants to ask for forgiveness. Aang, on his side, was having a better life. He traveled to different parts of the world with his wife, Katara. And by his good surprise, every time he visited an air temple, more people wanted to become acolytes and learn the air nomads' culture. His greatest joy happened when Katara gave birth to a baby boy. They called him Bumi, in honor of his late friend from the Earth Kingdom. Aang still goes and helps Sokka in his duty with the United Republic. At some point, Aang and Sokka went to ask Toph if she wanted to help in the United Republic with the security. This was done behind Zuko and Katara's back, as they knew that Toph was living with Azula and Goku. Toph accepted. She said that she will do it in her own way, and the only police she will have under her will be her disciplines from the academy. Goku and Azula were still living together, and nothing much had changed between them. Azula is still busy around him. They now live in a bigger house, and all the aides that used to work in the palace of the Fire Nation are now working there. The town of Tuzin was filled with Fire Nation citizens and earthbenders that decided to stay. Most of them were people who wanted to enter Toph's academy. Many old soldiers and politics are now living there. One of them is Mai's father, who left his home with his younger son. He wanted to bring his whole family, but they did not want to do that, especially when Mai was, at that moment, Zuko's girlfriend, but to him, a person who betrayed his family was not cut to be a Fire Lord. Unfortunately, his own family betrayed him. The life in the city was good, as their location was close enough to the forest, and they were able to locate underground water. The field was fertile, and they could farm with no problem. Some of the earthbenders arrived, with their whole families, and the architecture of the place was able to be improved by them. As the city was originally small, they needed to expand, and they did in the direction to the limits of the forest, and when they got close enough, they started to grow tall. Even when there were close towns to them to can make any kind of commerce exchange, they decided to not do it at first and only work and farm to self-sustain, but later on, after Toph accepted to work in the United Republic, the commerce was also open in a certain degree, as Azula did not want the city to lose their autonomy. And even when all this has happened, and with all the revolts happening in the Fire Nation, and the troubles that the Southern Water Tribe had with the Northern Water Tribe, the world was at peace. No major war occurred, and most problems were resolved in questions of weeks or months. Although for Zuko, the problems raised as fast as one was resolved, no major attacks happened. Due to these problems, the small things that make him happy are widely celebrated, and today was one of them as his daughter was going to celebrate her first birthday. The reason why Zuko called his friends, who were happy to go. It was the first time that all the group was together in many years, and Zuko was happy that they wanted to share this moment. The first to arrive was Aang and Katara. To Zuko's surprise, they came with Bumi, who was able to walk but was still very supervised by Katara, as he does have a lot of energy. The second to arrive was Sokka, who arrived by ship. He was somehow annoyed that Aang did not offer him a lift. When he asked if he could carry the baby Azumi, the one that was with the baby was Suki, which made the scene a little awkward for them. When this was happening, from the skies Toph arrived. She was using similar ropes she wore when they used to travel together, the only difference is that she is now using some heavy clothes underneath, just like Goku advised her. The scene of Toph coming from the skies is still a feature that they are still trying to get used to. Toph's landing in front of them helped to ease the tension between Sokka and Suki. It also amazed Ki, the half-sister of Zuko that was present at the moment. Zuko invited them to the garden where some beautiful flowers were blooming, as they were cared for by Ursa and Mai. While most of the people were around the small kids, Toph decided to wander a little, because in the end, no matter how close she was to the kids, she won't be able to see their faces. The only person that spotted Toph going to another place was Ursa. She followed her, as she wanted to ask her about Azula and Goku. Then Toph stopped next to a pond. So, this is the famous turtle duck pond, huh? Not impressive. Did they tell you about this pond? Zuko? Nah, he doesn't talk too much about his house. I was referring to Azula and Goku. To be honest, I don't know if I should answer that. I understand. Don't take me wrong. I may have overreacted when we first met. You are the dear mother of one of my friends, but for the other two, or at least one, the word dear won't apply. Ursa looked down. She expected as much, but it still hurt her. I would love to ask for their forgiveness. That is a good thing to do. I wanted to ask you if you can. Arrange a meeting. Sorry, but there. I would also want to ask for Goku. Kylie appeared. She was not wearing the makeup of the Kyoshi as she was on her day off. I do miss him. Has he talked about me? They have talked about you, but you really don't want to hear it. Did he? What did he say about me? The only time I heard about you was when they told me that you betrayed Azula. Oh, I see. Look. I am not the relationship counsel of no one. If you do really want to see them, you can do it. At this point is not a secret that they rule the Tuzin city. Is something the matter? No, it's okay. We were just talking. After Mai intervened, Toph left the pond and went to talk with her friends. After all this time, the only person that Toph normally sees is Sokka, which happens every month and normally is because of work. Aang stopped training his bendings, like the rest of the group, except for Zuko who kept training out of habit and Toph who still trained with Goku every week and with Azula from time to time. Toph has found that time is very precious for her. Even when Aang and the others will always be her friends, Goku and Azula had been with her all these 9 years. And this difference started to show up when she sat and started to hear the conversations. Aang and Sokka were talking about politics and Katara and Zuko were talking about their kids. She felt out of place, but then the kid of Aang arrived and grabbed her clothes. Katara just giggled a little, and then Suki, who has Izumi in her arms, offered her to hold the baby. At the same time, on an uninhabited island at the north of the Fire Nation, a sphere fell from the skies, making a big crater. From the sphere, a man came out. His black hair was long and fell until his waist. He was wearing black armor with brown shoulders. He had a small machine in his left eye, with a green crystal in front. He looked very upset for some reason, and then he touched the machine in his left ear. A small sound came from it and some symbols were displayed in the crystal. "That damn Kakaroto," said the man, then the machine pointed to one direction and then the man said. "There is a person with enough power over all of these people, is not that far from here. Hopefully, that would be Kakaroto." Then the man fly away to the direction that the machine was telling him. While flying, the man passed multiple towns and small cities of the Fire Nation. The man just said. All the people are still living peacefully. This planet is underdeveloped. And they are too weak. Curse you, Kakaroto. In the Fire Nation palace, in the garden. The people are still talking. Toph was talking about the fun stories of Zuko, while Sokka was confirming everything while mimicking the situation. Then Sokka started to talk about the play they saw on Ember Island, and for a moment the place was awkward when Sokka mentioned that the play put Zuko and Katara together. Mai just gave a fatal glare to Zuko who was sighted close to Katara. Zuko started to mumble a little, and then they just laughed. Suddenly Toph stood up as she felt a presence that was coming closer very fast. She screamed, "Go to a secure place now." All of them got surprised by Toph, but Zuko trusted her, so he asked his aides to take the kids inside. He also asked Ursa and Mai to go inside. Ursa was on her way to obey, but Mai stayed behind. The rest were still unsure what was happening. Suddenly from the skies, a man flew down and stood in front of them. Oh. A power of 322, followed by a 250. So, there are also people like you. Unfortunately, you are not opponents for me. The man looked first at Toph, then he looked at Aang. Toph was nervous, as she could feel the power coming from him. Ty Lee got scared, as she could feel his aura to be full of death. Sokka said to Toph, "Is he one of your students?" But Toph did not answer. Then the machine that was in the man's eyes started to make a little noise. Then Zuko stood in front and at his side was Aang. Toph was too distracted that she did not realize when they walked in front. "You are trespassing the property of the Fire Lord. We want to ask you to leave." The man just smirked at the taunt of Zuko. Then Sokka just stood in front of both and said. "I know that you may be following your mentor, but she is now on her day off. So, it's better for you to take your leave. And also, you can use a shower because you smell like." Sokka was saying those things while walking to the man, but then from his waist, a monkey-like tail that was around his waist moved to hit Sokka and send him to fly. "Why did you do that?" Aang screamed and blew a strong stream of air, and Zuko sent a fireball. Due to the combination of both attacks, a big explosion happened when hitting the man. Toph tried to stop them but couldn't. But when the cloud of air produced by the explosion went away, the man was still standing like nothing had happened and just said. "What a boring technique." Zuko and Aang were preparing to attack again, but Toph trapped them by their feet with earthbending and sent them back. Then she stood in front of the strange man. Suddenly the machine started to make some noise again, now it was pointing in another direction. The man said to himself, "There is somebody else with greater power," then he flew up. "The signal of power is from the strongest on this planet. That should be Kakaroto," he concluded. After that, he flew in the direction where the machine was telling him. After they saw the strange man leaving, Katara went directly to Sokka and started to heal him. Everybody was angered about it and they turned to see Toph, thinking that she may know him for the simple reason that he could fly, but Toph was still in shock and tried to process everything. Ai was still in fear, she thought that even with Azula, she had never experienced that amount of fear from a person. He is flying in Goku's direction, Toph thought, realizing that her friends are in danger. She was going to start to fly but was stopped by Zuko. He was angered by what happened and wanted some answers. Explain this. Let me go. The only people that know how to fly are you, Goku, and Azula. He is not with us if that is what you are implying. I am not implying anything. I only want to know what exactly happened. There is no time for it. That man is going in the direction of Azula and Goku. Toph swung her arm, and Zuko let her arm go. Why should we care? This attack was made by them, as far as I can see. I care because they are my friends. We are your friends. Not my only friends. Calm down, everyone. Aang intervened before they started to fight. Toph said, I am going to help them, and started to fly in the same direction where the strange man went. Aang tried to ask her to wait, but she already left, so he ran where Appa was and started to go in the same direction. He could hear Katara screaming at him with an angry voice, asking him to stay there, but Aang kept going after Toph. What should we do? We can try to follow them with a war balloon. It's not as fast as any of them, but it can help. Suki, can you take the kids inside? Of course. After that, everybody followed Zuko. Suki took Bumi and Izumi inside. She asked Ki to follow her, but Ki hid and went to the war balloon. Aang could see Toph in front of him. So, he went next to her. Aang screamed at her, get over Appa. You will tire yourself before arriving, Toph groaned a little but complied. More notes about the current states of the Avatar team. I put the Zuko and Maiar together because they broke up in the comics due to Zuko being secretly talking with his dad about the restoration movement, but because Ozai was never captured, this could never happen, meaning that Zuko didn't hide anything from Mai. I add a reason why Sokka and Suki broke up because, in the series, it was never specified what happened to them. I think that the relationship never flourished for the same reason as what happened in this fanfic crossover. The United Republic was still founded, but it was more because of what Toph said to them, which was the same thing that Goku told her while training. And lastly, at that moment, Goku, Azula, and Katara are 24 years old. Outside the town of Tuzin, Goku was dodging the punches of a 13-years-old kid. The kid was very fast but not like Goku. With only one step, Goku dodged the punch, with another step dodged the other punch, he ducked a little to dodge a kick. This scene seems to repeat over and over again, making the kid tired very quickly. On the other side of the place, Azula was seated with her legs crossed, drinking tea and eating some desserts. Then Azula rang a little bell. The kid stopped altogether and let himself fall to the ground. Goku just went and smiled at him. It's not fair. I can move with this much weight. It's only 44 pounds 20 kilos. I am only 13. We used to train with 5 times that weight. When will I learn how to firebend like you? On Tom. Goku lends his hand to the kid to help him to get up. The kid just smiled and went in the direction where some buildings could be seen. Azula and Goku were still in the same place saying goodbye to the kid as it seems that it was their turn to practice together. Suddenly they changed their faces to a more serious one. In the sky, a strange person was floating in the air in front of them. They could feel his energy. It was an energy that they had never felt before, it was full of death. Then when he went and stood in front of them, they could not help but put their guard up. A sound came from a machine that the strange man had in his ear. Then he said. Finally, I've found you. You have grown up, but looking at you, I can tell it is you, Kakaroto. Kakaroto? You look just like our father. But tell me. Why is this planet still have humans? Your mission was to exterminate all of them. Who are you supposed to be? Kakaroto? How could you have forgotten about your mission? Stop calling me that way. My name is Goku. What did you say? Have you really forgotten everything? Did you hit your head as a baby? Answer me. I did. I don't remember, but that's something that my father told me. So that was the reason. And who are you? What do you want from me? You forgot everything. Stupid. Very well, let me help you remember. You are not from this planet. You were born on planet Vegeta. You belong to the race of the strongest warriors from all the universe, the Saiyajins. What? And I am your older brother, Raditz. His brother? TSCH. If that is true, why would you send a baby here? The answer is simple. Kakaroto, you were sent here to exterminate the humans of this planet. What? We, the Saiyajins, travel all the universe and take over the planets that are habitable by killing their host. Then we sell the planet to those who search for a place to live. Depending on the power level of the planet, we send adults or kids. This planet is too weak, that's why you were sent here, Kakaroto. Unfortunately, our planet was destroyed by a meteorite. Right now, we are only 4, including you. And they are stronger than me. What? Weak. You should have killed its population by now. But the good thing is that you can still do it. You can use the moon to do it. What does the moon has to do with this? Stupid. Wait. Where is your tail? It was cut when I was a child. What? You dare to do that? That is why you live with those weaklings. Shut up. You can say that I am a Saiyajin or that you are my older brother. But I can't care less. My name is Goku, I am the Prince of the Fire Nation. Now, get out of here. I did come here to ask you to join us. But I've changed my mind. Goku's only family right now is me. And if you want, I can arrange for that to happen right now. Azula said that while she removed her armor and her boots, which were heavy. When it touched the floor, the sound of the metal clashing with the earth was very loud. Goku also removed his t-shirt, wristbands, and boots. Raditz machine started to make a sound again. Kakaroto is 516, said Raditz to himself. Hahaha. Do you think that with that increase of your power level can take me? Don't make me laugh. Power is not everything. I have decided that we no longer need you. You will be only a hindrance. I will end you right now. After that, with amazing speed, Raditz passed between Goku and Azula. He punched them with his elbow in their backs. Both, Azula and Goku, were able to equilibrate themselves and put some distance between them and Raditz. Still, they were amazed by his speed. But the simple nod, Azula and Goku ran against Raditz and started to attack him. Goku attacked with punches and kicks, Azula used her sharp nails and kicks. But like the training Goku had with Tom Tom, Raditz was able to dodge every attack. Raditz kicked Goku and then Azula and used that impulse to jump high. Azula and Goku stood up immediately and also jumped, but Raditz launched two beams from his hands which were directed to Goku and to Azula. Both were avoided, but they still were kicked by Raditz and landed heavily on the ground. Raditz was laughing while standing in front of them. Goku and Azula stood back up. The ground where they were was destroyed by the beams. Azula was incredulous that the man could use the same fire-bending technique as his brother. Meanwhile, in the war balloon, Zuko and the others were in silence. Not knowing what to expect. Then Katara spoke. If this ends up being another attempt of Azula to take over Fire Nation, I will not be surprised. Me neither. But, we have never found any evidence that she was behind all those attempts. Viz, look, I know that she is your daughter, but you have to accept reality. Stop, both of you. We will find out once we arrived at Tuzin. The one that stopped Mai and Katara from continuing talking was Zuko. He had the hope that his siblings had changed for the better. He does believe that her mother was right. Although, he still believes that back in the war, he made the right decision. Back at the outside of Tuzin. Azula and Goku were panting heavily. They were getting tired and they still haven't done any real damage to Raditz. On the other hand, Raditz was with a smile in front of them. Azula jumped and fire bent around Raditz, making a curtain of dust, then Goku attacked Raditz and sent him to fly. In the middle of the air, Raditz stopped himself. After that, he charged against Azula, but Goku put himself in front of him and received the hit. Raditz went close to end it all, but suddenly a wall of earth was erected and started to move towards Raditz. He just punched the wall, and Goku and Azula were not there anymore. A noise sounded from the machine in Raditz's ear. He could find that they were next to a bald guy and a girl in green robes. Are you okay? We are. DSCH. Azula took away the hand of the Avatar and started to stand up, just like Goku. You should put your bison in a safer place. It will hide in the forest nearby. Good. What can you tell me about that man? We were not able to make a scratch on him. Say, as an Avatar, do you have a secret power that can help us? Sorry, but no. Are you telling me that that guy could beat the two of you? I don't know if I should be happy to have a challenge like that or should I curse my luck for crossing that guy's path. I may be able to take him down, but I will need your help. You asking for help? Count me in. Anything so you can own me one. Distract him for a while. I have a technique that is powerful enough. It won't kill him, will it? If we are lucky. It will. But right now is him or all the world. Now, go. After that, Goku, Toph, and Aang went against Raditz. Meanwhile, Azula started to charge her lighting technique. Aang started to launch a series of fireballs, but Raditz stopped them with his hand. Then Toph started to move the floor around Raditz, which made him lose balance, and at that moment, Aang launched a series of ice spikes to Raditz, which were destroyed with his arm. Right after that, Aang sent a strong gust of air, which sent him to fly backward, and where he was going to land, Toph created spikes made of earth. Raditz spun himself and destroyed the spikes with a kick. The machine from his ear started to sound. Goku started to concentrate a lot of energy. The machine marked some numbers. Impossible. His power is increasing. 1025, 1026, they can concentrate all their energy in one attack. Later, the machine started to make the noise again. Their combat power is 1120. I can't believe it. And is still rising. Then Goku shouted a big "ha" and launched a powerful beam. Raditz tried to escape, but Toph used her earthbending to stop him and attach the floor beneath him to his feet. Raditz groaned a little, and then he raised his hand to stop Goku's attack. The explosion was so powerful, and still, with that, Raditz was without a scratch. Raditz laughed a little and said, "Now, let me be the one to show you what a technique should be." Raditz started waving his arms, did it 3 times, and each time a blast was sent out. One was sent to Goku, another to Toph, and another to Aang. Aang and Toph created a wall of earth and put their arms to protect themselves, but they still received damage from the attack and were in the ground. But Goku was in the air, tired, and received the attack directly and fell heavily to the ground. Raditz ran to the place where Goku was to attack him again, but the machine warned Raditz of increasing power. When he looked in the direction the machine was warning him, he realized that the power of Azula was still going up. Height power of 1330. All her energy is concentrated in her fingers. Damn, how can they control their energy at will? Hi-ya. Azula shouted as she wanted to use a big part of her energy with that attack. She has been training with Goku for these 9 years and decided to control her lighting attack with the same technique she uses to fly, and the result was this technique. Azula did not care about the ideals of the Avatar, she was aiming to the heart of her opponent, she wanted to kill him. The big explosion happened, even louder than last time. The attack seems to have crossed the desert which was on the horizon and stopped in a big dune. Azula was panting heavily, she used a big part of her energy to make that attack. Unfortunately, Raditz was fast enough to move when the attack was launched and only his left shoulder was damaged. "You were too close. If that attack had landed on my body, I would be dead. You have hurt my shoulder. I won't forgive you for that." Azula just spat and put her gore up. She knew that she won't be able to defeat him. Suddenly, all of Raditz's body was covered with rock. Raditz destroyed the small prison and saw that the girl in green robes was standing. He smirked, and when he was going to sprint at her, Aang tried to stop him and grabbed him by the tail. Suddenly Raditz was on the floor in agony. Aang did not know what happened, and then Azula screamed at him, "Do not let the tail go. It seems that he is getting weaker." Aang just nodded at her and squeezed the tail stronger. At the same moment Azula started to charge her attack again. "I do not have much energy left. This one should land. If not, we are doomed," Azula thought while she was charging her attack. "Please let me go. I was wrong. I will leave this planet without killing anyone." "Don't listen to him. He is trying to escape. Please. I know that I plan to kill the humans here. But I always keep my promises. Are you telling me the truth?" "I am, I promise." "Don't do it, he is." Toph was trying to be the voice of the reason there. She tried to advise Aang that Raditz was lying, but Aang stopped squeezing Raditz's tail. At the moment that Aang stopped squeezing his tail, Raditz kicked Aang and sent him to fly. Raditz started to run where Aang landed. Goku appeared in front, but Raditz headbutted Goku. Goku could resist somehow, but then Raditz blasted a beam in his chest. The fighters of this planet are too bland. A real warrior won't hesitate to kill, not even their blood. Let me show you. Raditz started to charge an attack, but then he received a blast in the hand he was going to use for the attack. When Raditz turned to see who did that, he saw a young boy around 13 years old. He was panting heavily, and tears were running through his eyes. Then Azula screamed, "Get out of here, Tom Tom." Raditz smirked and started to walk through the boy. Then a bunch of big rocks were sent to him by Toph, but Raditz destroyed with no problem with a swing of his arms. Suddenly the machine started to sound again. When he looked at the source he saw that the bald guy was floating, and his eyes were with white light. Raditz got surprised by the image. A sphere of air was formed around Raditz. He was floating because of that sphere of air that was around him. Then the Avatar said, "Azula, try your technique again. I don't know how much I can keep it there." Azula smirked and started to charge the attack again. Then Toph put rocks around Raditz's arms and legs. Meanwhile, Raditz tried to move his body, he was having problems breathing, and his arms and legs were too heavy suddenly. The machine of Raditz detected the power of Azula, it was 1480, and after that, he tried to move with more force. "I am sorry, Avatar. But at this point, I don't think I can let him live." Raditz shouted aloud, making his energy expand, and his energy made the Avatar lose concentration. That expansion of energy took a lot of his power, and he was set free from the air sphere, but as soon he was free, the attack from Azula was launched. The great explosion happened, the sound was tremendous, the power of the attack also emitted a bright light. After the light was gone, the people present could see that Raditz was on the floor with a hole in his chest. The fight was finally over. Azula fell to her knees by the exhaustion. The Avatar was panting too fast after getting out of his Avatar state. Toph went close to the Saiyajin, as she could feel that he was still living. She could not believe it. A hole was in his chest, but he still had energy left, but it was small energy, and it was draining very fast. Then she heard the Saiyajin speaking. I can't believe that I was defeated by people of this race. What's that? The porcupine man cannot accept defeat. Laugh all you want. But everything that happened here was transmitted to my other Saiyan partners. They are on another side of the universe. Huh? They know that you have killed me, and they will come to get vengeance. While Raditz was talking, he started to spit blood. Aang was able to get close to Toph. Not only you four. But all the people of this planet will die. When will they arrive? In a year, in only a year. Raditz coughed a little more blood and then he passed away. Aang was not happy. He didn't want to kill him. He understands that he was a greater menace than Fire Lord Ozai, but if he could make a change for the better, why this person wouldn't. When Aang turned to see Azula, he saw that she was next to Goku. The fight was brutal and Goku received most of the damage. Next to Azula was a young boy. Then from the skies, Aang could see the air balloon of the Fire Nation. On their way to Tuzin, they could see that many explosions happened near their destination. Ursa was praying for Azula and Goku's safety. Goku may not be her birth son, but she loves him as one. He was always with a big smile and cared for his two siblings. He may be a little too fascinated with fights, but his nature was always of a good person. The whole crew was afraid that the worst had happened. Then after the second explosion, Ki went out from her hideout and hugged her mom. What are you doing here? I wanted to help. I also am a firebender. And if they try to do something to my brother, I want to be there to help him. Ki's answer received smiles from Katara and Mai. Zuko was worried about the presence of her half-sister, and Sokka was paying attention to the curse of the ship as he was the one in charge of the controls. Then Sokka screamed, I can see them. Sokka started the landing maneuvers. The other went to the windows to see. They could see that Aang and Toph were standing next to the strange man, which made everybody sigh in relief. Zuko and Ursa were watching that Azula was next to Goku, whose body was on the floor. Then Zuko opened the door and jumped. He was followed by Katara, Mai, and Ty Lee. Sokka just said, of course, let me behind with the ship, no problem. But his comment was answered by the stabbing looks of Ki and Ursa who stayed behind. Zuko, Mai, Katara, and Ty Lee landed and ran directly where Aang and Toph were. Katara went and hugged Aang, and then she was stunned when she saw the dead body of Raditz. She turned to see Aang. He had a dark face and was clenching his fist. Zuko just looked at the dead body and just turned to see where Goku was. Then Aang said to Katara. Can you help me with Goku? A pleasure. Katara changed her face from worried to a serious one and put herself in a combat position. Mai also put a fighting stance. Then Toph stood in front of them and said. Don't you dare. Aang said with a stern voice. Katara. She turned to see Aang. I am asking you to help him and cure him. What? I will not do such a. Katara. Katara flinched this time. Aang was not happy. He could not save the man next to him, but the others tried to do the right thing. He could not let anyone else die. Unfortunately, Mai ran to where Azula was and behind her was Zuko. Azula got up and put herself in a battle stance and Tom Tom did the same. When they were face to face, Azula said. And everybody said that I was the cunning one. Look at you, attacking when we are tired from a battle you were afraid to fight. When they were going to attack, Ty Lee appeared from behind and Chai blocked the arms of Zuko and Mai. After that, she smiled at Azula and wanted to run and hug her, but Azula was still in her defensive position. Ty Lee wanted to speak, but the words didn't come out of her mouth. Then from behind Toph appeared and asked Azula. Are you okay? I am fine. What about Goku? He will be fine. Let Katara help. Azula looked doubtfully at Aang, but she still let the waterbender to cure Goku. When Katara was still curing Goku, Ursa and Ki went where the rest were. Ki arrived first and put herself in front of Zuko and put on a fighting stance, but Zuko grabbed her from the shoulders. Ursa arrived a few seconds later and saw Goku on the ground while Katara was healing him. She tried to get closer, but Tom Tom put himself in front. Then Azula said. She is not a fighter, so don't worry about her Tom Tom. Tom Tom. Mai said, and her eyes went wide open. Then Ursa tried to get closer to Azula, but she stopped her. Azula, could you please don't do that? Goku's safety is the priority here. Then Katara stood up. He will be fine, but should not do any heavy movements for a while. We may need to take him to a better place. Sure. Tom Tom. Go to the town and bring someone to help us take Goku back. Right away. Tom Tom made a little reverence and went running to the town. Mai just looked at him. Then Sokka arrived and asked Toph. Is he alright? He will be. Okay. And I don't know if you realize this, but can you tell me why everybody is barefoot? Except for the dead guy over there and Aang, all of you are without any shoes. Is that part of your fighting style? Nobody laughed at the joke. Then Aang said. We have to talk. Azula sat in an ornamented metal chair and next to her was Toph, who was sitting in a similar chair. Aang, Katara, Suki, Zuko and Sokka were in wooden chairs in front of Azula. They were in a beautiful garden. A pond was not so far from it. The pond was similar to the one that was in the Fire Nation mansion. Now, tell us. What did he tell you? We have a year. He said that his partners will come in a year. Azula caressed her chin, frowning. Aang looked at Azula and Toph and said. He said that they are stronger than him. Azula turned her gaze to Aang. He was with a stern look. A scouter. That was him. He was sent to verify our strength. It seemed so. Azula turned to see the building behind her. The small mansion where she lives with Goku. Toph just patted Azula's shoulder. She sighed and turned her look back to the group in front of her. Do you know anything else? Maybe he said anything to you before we arrived. He said that there are another two like him. But no information about their skills or anything, only that they are stronger than him. Sokka was only looking at them, turning his head to the person talking at the moment. But every time someone talked, he scratched his head stronger and stronger until he could not resist. Okay, that's good and all, but first, who was that guy? Toph sighed. She could feel with her feet that the other people also wanted to know. He called himself Raditz and said that they are Saiyajins. Saiyajins? Never heard of that organization. Are they from the Earth Kingdom? Are they related to the story that I told you that time? Asked Aang right after the question of Sokka. Azula nodded. Aang's eyes widened, then he started to think about the information. Sokka again looked at their private conversation. Until that point, the full story of Goku was still a secret to the others. They know that Goku was not blood related to Zuko or Azula and that he was picked up by Ozai himself. That history was not believed at first by the others. How could Ozai, the darkest and villainous man on the planet, could have taken and raised an orphan out of generosity? But when the story was confirmed by Ursa and an old soldier, they only could accept the reality. But the information about the pod that came from the sky was still a secret. Tom left the room where Goku was. He was getting better, his wounds were not critical, and knowing Goku, he was sure that he may be okay in maybe a couple of days. Outside the room was Ty Lee, Ursa's with Ki at her side, and Mai. Tom looked at them and made a little nod as a bow, then he started to walk away. Mai stood to stop him. She wanted to say something, but did not know what and remained still. Ursa also stood up and spoke up. How's Goku? Before answering, Tom looked at her in the eyes. He sighed after he appeared to have the answer to an unspoken question after he saw her eyes. He is sleeping. Is he alright? The healers said that it will take a week. But he is Goku, so it may only take a couple of days for him to be like nothing. Ty Lee smiled as Ursa did. Ki just hugged her mother tightly. Tom started to walk again, but he was stopped again by Mai. Her face was serious, without showing her true emotions. Tom looked at her. How may I help you? We need to talk. In the garden, the others were still talking. Why are you not telling us the whole information? You really were working with them. That's why you are so secretive about this. Would you shut your mouth up? Screamed Toph when Sokka was accusing Azula. Goku was injured and a man died. Aang said with a stern look. Katara was on Sokka's side, but she still went and took Aang's shoulders to calm him down. Zuko, who was more like a spectator this whole time, talked. Do you think that we could approach them more diplomatically? That's out of the question. The only answer you will receive from them is a hole in your body. Answered Azula without even looking at Zuko. We will need to prepare ourselves for their arrival. Aang knew where this conversation was going that way. He did not want to fight in another war. But this situation escalated way too much. Aang, it will be better if you trained with Azula and Goku. Toph proposed. Aang was going to answer, but he was interrupted. What are you talking about? Aang will not train with them. He can train again with all of us. Toph, you traitor. I know this was a trap. Shut up. The world is in danger, and the only thing you do is find an excuse to antagonize them. Said Aang. This kind of situation where Aang loses his temper is very rare. He turned to see Azula. He stood up and bowed. Azula nodded to him. If you are going to do that, I will be coming with you. Me too. I will also train with you. The last to speak was Suki. She still had some resentment of her capture back in the woods close to Ba Sing Se. I will do it too. No. That was the answer that Toph gave to Zuko when he wanted to train with the others. You still need to rule your nation. But imagine if people knew that Azula and Goku are the ones that are training you. What do you think that is going to happen in the Fire Nation? Zuko just looked away. Then Toph continued. Suki, Katara, if you want to train, I will be training both of you. Aang needs to train as hard as he can. And you only will be on the way to his training. How dare. Now it was Aang, the one that grabbed Katara to calm her. And then he nodded to Toph. In a tea shop, located opposite the healer's building, Tom and Mai were sitting across from each other. Mai was still with a serious face, without saying a word, but then she spoke. "Do you know who I am? The wife of the traitor lord." Mai did not lose composure of the comment. "I am your sister." "Is that so? You are not surprised." "Why should I? Father told me. Mom stayed because you have an opportunity to seize power. Too bad you haven't done the right thing yet." "The right thing? Kill him. You already have his trust." Mai's eyes were with a stabbing look at Tom, then she relaxed. "You do not believe that?" "Not really. Azula and Goku already said that they do not have any desire for the throne. If they wanted, they will have seized the power long ago. No, what I believe is that it's a shame that my own blood chose a traitor over her family. But I guess that's the reason why you made the perfect fit for him." Tom, I stayed with him because I love him. But I also love our family. Our father took you away from us. Save your words. You will not put me against father or against Azula and Goku." Tom stood up and left money on the table and left. While Tom was leaving, Mai followed him with her eyes, then she saw Zuko walking to the healer's building. Inside the building, the guards that were dressing similar to the Fire Nation guards stopped his pass. "Let me pass. I am the Fire Lord." When he said that, a spear went close to his throat. Zuko remembered at that moment that he was not in the Fire Nation. He mistook them for the armor they wear. But then behind him appeared Toph and gestured with her hands, and the guards lowered their weapons. Zuko continued walking behind Toph until they arrived at a small hall where Ursa was. Zuko approached her. "Mom, we are leaving." "I'll stay. I want to stay here, at least until he wakes up." "No, you are leaving." "Azula, You made your decision 14 years ago." Azula said while watching Ki, who was putting herself in front of her mother. Ki felt the pressure of the look of Azula's gaze and flinched a little. "Now, get out." "Azula." Zuko put himself in front of Azula. He was frowning and almost ready to attack, but the guards again appeared behind Azula. "Are you treating me, Zuzu? In my territory? You very considerate. We all know how weak and pathetic of a fighter you are." Toph sighed for the scene. She just crossed her arms and leaned in the wall. Zuko saw that Toph was not going to help him, so he lowered his defense. Ursa started to shake. Zuko walked outside the building, and behind him was Ursa, Ki and Ty Lee. The former looked at Azula, she had her eyes watering, tears about to fall when she saw Azula. Outside the building was Mai. She went with Zuko and followed him as he went in the direction where the war balloon was. The training with Toph was tough. Katara and Suki could not complete the training of Toph. Ty Lee, who also included herself in the training when she heard about it, was the only one that finished the whole session. She felt good, but everybody looked at the kid that was with them. Tom, the younger brother of Mai, was also training with them. Although he was told that he will not participate in the combat against the Saiyajins, he decided to train as he could not do it with Azula or Goku. All of the people were training wearing heavy clothing. Not all of the people there could move freely, and even Ty Lee had problems moving. This made the girls feel a sense of defeat as the young man wore clothes heavier than them and could still train like nothing. The training session was only on weekdays in the morning. The training of Aang was different. He had to train every day and only with one day to rest. Heavy muscle training in the morning with Toph, combat training with Azula in the afternoon, and meditation with Goku. While he was training, he saw his son Bumi. He wanted to train as his father. Aang promised himself that after everything is over, he will take his son to see the world. He still does not know if he is an airbender or a waterbender, or if he is a bender at all. Goku training was set up for him to train in the morning with Azula and the afternoon with Toph. The way of training with them may vary from each day. Azula may want to spar with him one day, and in the other, she could scold him and teach tactics. Toph may also spar with him and meditate with him the next day. Only on weekends, Goku and Aang spar. Unfortunately, Aang is not a good spar partner for Goku. Way too predictable, way too slow, and easily distracted. Aang in Avatar state was different, he was unpredictable, and Goku really got excited when that happened. In one of the days off, Ty Lee finally was able to approach Goku. "Hi Goku." Ty Lee said with a big smile while she tried to cover her true feelings. Her heart was beating frenetically, her stomach had a small pain and a lump in her throat. She could not say anything to Goku last time. After she defended Mai, she has not talked with Goku. She defended her without thinking, but she does not regret that. But she still felt bad about it. She felt that it was unfair to her that she had to choose between two friends. And the worst thing is that her friendship with two people was destroyed at that moment. Goku will always be with Azula, he may not want to talk to me. Will he consider me a traitor? Thought Ty Lee. "Hi." Goku answered with a smile and nonchalantly. Of course, he will say hi with a smile. He is Goku, thought Ty Lee, while her sight went a little blurry because of the tears. Are you okay? What happened? Ty Lee shook her head and drew a smile. Nothing. It's been a while. Ugh. You can say that again. Ty Lee chuckled a little. So, what are you doing? I was thinking. About what? Well, you know about the energy around, right? Well, the attack that Raditz used was similar to my firebending. But the healers said to me that it was an energy attack. Well, you have always used your energy to make that attack. Wait. So my attacks are not firebending. Ty Lee just shook her head while Goku eyes widened. He started to scream a little and looked ashamed of not knowing before. Well, it makes sense. It seems that I am not a real firebender, I guess. But then. What do you have in your mind? Goku crossed his arms and started to think. He was looking at his arms and then he turned to see Aang, who was carrying his son in the distance. Maybe if I can use my energy, maybe I can use the energy of my surroundings. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. I will go to train right now. Thank you very much, Ty Lee. I miss talking to you. Ty Lee eyes widened a little, her ears were hot and could not react to Goku leaving the place. He missed talking to me, she thought. She wanted to say to him that is his day to rest, but he was no longer there. Inside the tea shop of Iroh, Sokka and Zuko were sat in front of Iroh and Piandao. A strange look for Iroh and Piandao was to see Sokka with a serious face for a long time. Normally, it lasts only a few minutes before he made a small joke. They knew Sokka is now in charge of the new country, but they had never been in those discussions. The reason for them to be so serious was because they were telling them about the incoming battle. Two of the most important people in the world. The Fire Lord and the leader of the United Republic were bowing down, asking for help from the two old men. Please, train us. Asked both at the same time. We can't stay behind. We can't just wait for things to happen. This incoming battle will put the world in danger. Meaning that the United Republic will be in danger too. Both old men sighed. A smile was drawn on their faces. Aang was trying his best in his training with Toph and Azula, but he always failed miserably to be at her standards. He will welcome her days when he trained the earthbending with Toph in the past. That training was paradise compare with the training he has now. Toph gave her clothes similar that Goku's, which is way too heavy for him. He knew that Azula, Suki and Ty Lee also wear something similar, but they told him that, because he is the Avatar, heavier clothing will be for him. Azula was merciless, she always wiped the floor with him. She even could make comments while sparring. Besides the attack from Raditz, he has never felt this slow and powerless. He thought it was unfair that he has to train and spar with the heavy clothing. So, you want to train without the weight? Yes. I know that I can beat you without that much weight in the way. Azula smirked at the comment. She let Aang change his clothing to his usual robes. When he came back, Azula just removed the armor, leaving only clothing similar to what Goku wears. Katara arrived with Yumi in her arms, Toph was also at her side, Suki was on the other side of Katara. When the armor left her hand, the sound of the ground cracking was audible to him. Whenever you are ready. Azula taunted Aang. Aang went and attacked her with air pressure, but she didn't do anything. Aang decided to run and use his air bending to impulse himself and try to attack Azula, but when his foot was close to her, she disappeared and reappeared at his back. Aang grabbed his glider and tried to attack her with it, but she just moved to one side. Aang continued attacking, but nothing landed. Azula had her hands in her back, she just moved to one side, squatted down, and then jumped, and with those moves, she was dodging all the hits of Aang. Katara and Suki eyes widened, Suki's mouth was open. Toph was bored, but she stayed there, with her hands in the back of her head. Shouldn't we stop this? Aang has no opportunity. No, he has to understand that he still needs to learn more. Honestly, this is his fault for stopping training altogether in the past 9 years. Toph said to Suki. She understood that Aang was having trouble with Azula's training, but when she saw what happened next, it made her understand that he didn't take Goku's training seriously. Azula made a small feint with her shoulders, and Aang covered his head, but Azula aimed at his stomach with a kick, and with that only kick, Aang fell to his knees. Disappointing. Azula said coldly. She looked at him as he was scum. We are here trying to help you, and you still do not try to learn. If you had paid attention to Goku training, you wouldn't have this problem. Get up and try again. We have less than a year to get better. Aang stood up, his legs were trembling, and he was coughing, trying to breathe better. Katara grabbed Yumi's head and put it on her shoulder so he won't see him. That's enough, Aang. You don't have to continue. Screamed Katara. But Aang still went to attack Azula, but he was even slower than before. Aang used earthbending and cover his right arm with rock, and then used his left arm to water bend the water in the air and create a whip with it. Azula jumped when the water was close to her and kept dodging the attack until Aang was close. He tried to punch her with his right fist that was covered with rocks. Azula grabbed Aang's arm and using the energy from the trajectory, she made the arm create a circle and with that, the avatar's body spun. And while Aang's body was horizontally in the air, Azula hit him in the air. Stomach again and he fell heavily on the floor. After that Kader gave Bumi to Suki and ran at Aang's side. She covered her hand with water and started to heal Aang. Azula started to walk away and said. Today training is over with me. You better learn something from Goku or Toph if you want to improve. Goku approached Toph to talk to her before her training could start. Toph, I want to ask you. Tell me. I have been practicing this new technique, but I want to test it. Okay, I am set. Well, I was thinking if you can use your earth bending to make a big rock and make it go super fast. Oh. Sure, I guess I can do that. Okay, let me get ready. Goku then relaxed his body and closed his eyes, then slowly he raised his hands. After just a couple of minutes, he opened his eyes and lowered his hand slowly. He clenched his right hand and said. I'm all set. Toph, can you use your bending now? Toph was surprised by the amount of energy that was concentrated in Goku. Only after Goku called for Toph for a second time is when she could react. She smirked and bent a big massive rock. She started to move it from one place to another so it could gain more momentum. Let's see if you can track it. The rock passed close to Goku, but he did not flinch. Goku was in his fighting stance with his hand ready. Then he saw the rock and moved his right arm in that direction and opened his hand. It looked like someone throwing a ball, and from his hand. The ball was glowing, and when it touched the rock it destroyed it easily. That thing. That ball. It felt like Aang when he is in the avatar state. Right? I thought the same thing when I had it in my hands. How did you do that? Well, I try to borrow the energy of the surroundings. Like what? You know, from the trees, the animals, the air. That is so cool. How do you call it? I don't know. The energy is similar to the avatar state, so maybe spirit bomb. Lame. Goku laughed, but then he left himself fell to the ground and looked at the sky. Toph only sat at his side. Toph, is it wrong that I am excited about the battle? If it is, we are both in the wrong. The end.